It would help if I had the game open already. I was smart and I put, like, OBS on my toolbar, but I didn't put, make it easy to get to the game. Like a smart. Everybody is maroon. It's time for another episode of Watanagashi. There's the sound of the Higurashi crying and doing that there thing. Making sure everything's set up proper like. And then we're going to continue where I left off, which was after we got told all the horror stories about Higurashi and how everything's going to, be terrible and how someone's going to die and disappear this year at the Watanagashi festival. Because that sounds like a great thing you tell your friend. Wah! It's Cage-kun! Good morning, good morning! Rena was ecstatically waving her arms at me, already brimming with energy. What do you mean, good morning? It's already evening. Just say hello or something. But this is the first time I've seen you today, so I think good morning is right. It's right! I got it. Okay, then good morning it is. Good morning, Rena. I grabbed Rena's head and rubbed it with my hand. She squirmed, reveling in the motion like a cat. Sorry, I had to type something really quick. Hey, Kate-chan! Sorry about yesterday, I left without telling you. No, it's my fault. Sorry for making you wait so long. Are you talking about setting up for the festival yesterday? How was it, Kate-kun? Did you do your job properly? The slight muscle pain through my body and my sluggish movements are already obvious. I did great. I'm pretty worn out now, though. I grinned dryly, and the three of us breaking out into laughter. Where's Sadako and Rika-chan? Are they meeting up with them at the festival? Yep. Rika-chan's actually been there since yesterday. Since she has an important job. I think Sadako-chan stayed with her, so they're already at the shrine. Right, I just remembered. Today was Rika-chan's big performance. She'd be practicing especially hard for this day. As her friend, I needed to make sure I went and cheered her on. Right? Let's go right away. Yeah! Yay! As we got closer to the shrine, we started passing by more people and seeing a lot of parked cars. It began to get noisier too. I thought I could hear something like a Bond dance song. Without being able to restrain my impatience, I dashed up the entire flight of stone stairs. Kate-chan, you're going too fast! Wait for me! Man, Kate-chan, you're such a little kid! Whoa, the shrine grounds. They were packed with people. It was a festival if I ever saw one. Wow, they went all out this year too. Amazing, amazing. They're coming from Higurashi. Huh? The bedridden old man from the Kimiyoshi branch family is here too. Then the old guy went home from Watanagashi last year and stayed in bed ever since. And there's a lot of villagers here that I didn't really know. They must have all been pouring in just for today. Oh, it's Satoko-chan! Hey! Oh, if it isn't everyone! Yes, hello to you all. Yo, Satoko, there's a lot of people today. Don't get lost in the crowd, okay? Oh, who do you even think you're talking to? Satoko, too, seems somehow energetic. Of course, I'm the same way. Huh? Where's Rika-chan? She still has free time, doesn't she? Rika was giving her respects to the mayor and other important people. She shall come before long. I see. Rika-chan is the shrine maiden for today's festival, after all. Probably a pain for her to say hello to all the elders. It really is a pain. Hello, everyone. Oh, Rika-chan! I want to take Rika-chan wore an immaculate Shrine Maiden outfit that looked fresh off the shelves. It was a perfect fit for her somehow mystical appearance. I still have curry in my mouth. How's it fit? It's not too long, is it? My grandma gave me some safety pins just in case the sleeves are too long.
It's alright. It really is comfortable.
As she spoke, she began to do some twists and stretches.
It's so cute! Oh!
There was approximately one person here getting a nosebleed from watching Rika-chan move.
It's good. Don't you think she's cute, don't you? If you don't, then you'll mind. I'll take her home with me.
I think she's really cute. Totally cool. Enough that I want to pretend to be her big brother or dad and take some pictures with her. If we take a picture from 2 different places and make it stereoscopic, we can eat, or rather stare at, a real-life Rika-chan at our houses whenever we want.
Oh, that sounds great! That sounds fantastic!
Rena's eyes and mine glittered with stars as our nose bled and we drooled. Fucking perverts. Rika, you'd best stay away from them.
Yes, or I might get locked away in a basement somewhere.
It looks like you're enjoying it though, Rika-chan.
Me, you're being harsh.
We all laughed together again. Okay, let's not hang around here. Let's get to the festival. There's not much time left until Rika-chan's big debut. Why is debut spelled with it? I realize it's probably French, but why does debut have a D? If we don't pronounce the T, why put the T there? It's like herb and herb. Like, why would you say herb? There's a fucking H in it. Sorry, I love Eddie Izzard, and like that's still like one of my favorite bits, other than cake or death. You're right. Great. Let's go, everyone. Yeah! Yo, if it isn't the daughter of the Sonozaki, eat up! The yakisoba is packed full of pork! Oh, I can't do that accent. That's it. I'm starting to get into a dangerous level of tiny racist. This year we filled it with up as much as we could. We even put in fried calamari. Gotcha, old timer. The yakisoba this year looks like quite an achievement. You have squid, too. You put a ton of time into this, didn't you?
Wow, it's tasty, it's tasty!
Yeah, the squid's delicious, but the aroma's just fantastic. It's wonderfully compensated for how soft it tends to be. There's a delightful amount of squid and pork in it, too. Yep, not bad at all, I say. Gei-chan, you sound like you could walk into a cooking program and become the host.
Yeah. When I see Keiichi-kun acting like it's so good, it somehow tastes even better.
Don't discriminate among delicious food. So anything that I say is tasty has got to be worth trying out, right?
Then Keiichi, please give us your opinion of the yakisoba again.
I'll do it in 2 words. Absolutely scrumptious. If I had a second stomach, I'd buy another one right now. Having heard my 3-star rating, a whole line of people suddenly formed in front of the yakisoba stand. Wow, that's amazing. Kei-chan said it was so good that a little crowd started to form. Not bad. It's nothing to brag about, but I still decided to stick my chest out and put on airs. I'm fucking great.
No, is that so? Then perhaps I shall try it out. Mister, could I perchance bother you for one takoyaki?
Sadako brought a stick of takoyaki balls of fried octopus. Takoyaki balls of fried octopus from an adjacent stand, and after blowing on it, put one of them in her mouth.
How is it, Satoko-chan? If you give it a good rating, then Kirina will buy it too.
Chomp, chomp. Chew, gulp. Now it's time for Hinamizawa Michelin Judge Satoko Hojo to give her impressions. Though she was all for it a moment ago, Sadako hesitant to give on her thoughts. Hey now, what's the matter? Everyone else takes one of their own and puts it in their mouths.
Huh? Rena got gypped. Mine's bad too. There's no octopus in it.
This takoyaki vendor. Could it be some sort of festival-only octopus-free takoyaki stand? An evil takoyaki stand that skimped on the octopus because they figured it would make them good money today. Ah, mine has some. Yeah, it's pretty good considering there's octopus in it. How am I supposed to explain that this octopus-free takoyaki is any good? Everyone wondered about that. Our quizzical look seemed to draw equally dubious stares from the people in line.
How about this? Takoyaki without any octopus is really healthy, and even people who don't like octopus can eat this delicious takoyaki.
After hearing that, several surprised guests left the line. It had the exact opposite effect. Alright, then I'll give it a try next. A self-inspired take on takoyaki, in which you can clearly taste the simple flavors of the flour, green onions, and pickled ginger. The unaffected taste bud is bolstered by the absence of octopus. It wasn't half bad, but after hearing there's no octopus in it, claws, even more people left the line. Rika-chan, any good comments? You can be honest.
400 yen is too much for this.
Gah! That was too honest. Even more customers left the line, dealing a lethal blow. There were other takoyaki stands around, after all. Well, you might not want to be doing this. Hey, Sadako! You started all this, so give us a great big turnaround. I can't do it. How do you expect me to lavish praise upon takoyaki without any octopus in it? Ah, you idiot. Sadako's angry outburst was the finishing blow.
Customers are all gone. Huh? The guy's staring at us. Why is that? Why is that? Hello?
There's no saving this crowd. Perhaps I, Keiichi Marabata, will lend a generous hand.
Keiichi-kun, you could do it. We want you to save the takoyaki vendor who didn't put any octopus in.
Don't smile as though you said something, even as you said something so bitter. Alright, fine. This may be the only chance you get to see a pro at work, so watch carefully. I shoved the stick of octopus-less takoyaki and crammed it into my mouth. As before, there wasn't any octopus in it. But Mion's had some in it. That was the important point. The man who runs this takoyaki stand, he really loves takoyaki in every meaning of the word. No, it could even be said that he adores it. Huh? Everyone gasped in surprise, including the takoyaki vendor glaring at us. This man truly does love takoyaki. Because he loves it, he doesn't want to create half-hearted random ones. Isn't that right? The takoyaki vendor looked down, unsure. Those watching us were listening intently, wanting to know why octopus-less takoyaki deserved such a high rating.
Keiichi-san, if he really and truly loved takoyaki that much, why did he make takoyaki without octopus at all? Isn't he betraying the very takoyaki?
You may be right. In one sense, it is betrayal. However, the best possible compromise this man could find. This man is making real takoyaki today, as he always does. However, only one or two of them on every stick are the real ones.
Well, you're right. The one I ate had octopus in it.
And considering it actually did have it, it didn't taste that bad at all, you know? Right. That is a bona fide takoyaki. As for the other ones, it was the biggest compromise he could to make the basis so the general populace will all think there's nothing, they need to be 8 pieces on the stick, or else it's not really takoyaki.
Huh? Keiichi-kun, I don't understand what you mean. Why is one of them the real thing and all the other ones fakes? Why?
The secret lies in the octopus. Mr. This Octopus. It's true Akashi octopus, isn't it? In recent years, the number of octopus caught in Akashi have decreased, and their prices have risen drastically. The prices are now so high that you wouldn't think of using them in takoyaki. And the man who had been looking down this whole time mumbled. Yeah, that's right. Akashi octopus. It's very expensive. But this man absolutely had to have the Akashi octopus. He could have bought much worse quality octopus for cheaper, as much as he wanted, and he would have still been able to fool everyone. There are plenty of other scamming takoyaki vendors who claim they are from Akashi, even though they're not. But this man won't accept it. He wouldn't tell lies. Akashi's octopus are supreme. He would never relinquish his one stubborn conviction. This man loved takoyaki. That's why he never lied. Yet, there was one point that he absolutely had to compromise on.
What might that be?
The number. The popular opinion is that a stick of takoyaki should have 8 pieces on it. Even if it's real Akashi octopus, he couldn't charge 400 yen for just 1 piece, could he? If he didn't have 8 pieces, no one would buy them. This man wept over it. In order to make just 1 piece of takoyaki, he wouldn't even let himself lie through the other 7! Oh, whoa! The octopus takoyaki vendor burst into tears. I gently clapped one of his shoulders. No matter what anyone else says, I will never forget how genuine you are. You, sir, are a true vendor of takoyaki. You are the only one in the world with the right to call himself that. Clap, 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 clap. As I embraced the shoulders of this man, shedding his manly tears, those watching delivered a round of applause moved by my speech. Everyone, I beg of you, please eat some of this true takoyaki vendor's takoyaki. If we don't treasure genuine men like this, then how can we protect the true path of the takoyaki? If nobody else will eat them, then I will eat them all!
Well, everyone who's watching is lining up. Keiichi-kun, you did it! You did it!
I think it's more than they thought Kei-chan's propaganda speech was interesting, rather than the takoyaki actually looked good.
Kei-chan, you could probably sell plain old rocks if you tried. You would go over well at the entrance of Akihabara Station. Chika, I've never heard of this Akihabara. Where is it? Absolutely stunned at my successful pitch, the guy manning the stall next to me called out to me. Hey, you guys, do this for my sweets, too. Great. You all get the gist of it, right? It's your turn this time, Rena. Okay, I'll do my best. Ah! When apricot sweets are cold, they're very, very good. The apricot sitting so quietly and nice on top of syrup. Oh, it's so cute. I want to take it home. Ah! Looks like she lost herself midway through, but a girl giving it such natural praise in itself bringing in some customers. The line is quickly forming behind Rena. Next up is the Okonomiyaki stand. Sadako, you're up. Rather, well... The crunch of the fried tempura batter mixed with the yakisoba is simply to die for. With a huge piece of bacon laid on top, you'll bite into it, it all comes flooding out. Chomp, chomp, chomp! Yeah! That's freaking great! Now I want to try some too. Then a huge line formed at my words. What on earth is this? So basically all these onlookers are just following us around to all the stands? Hey man, if it convinces people to buy more food, I guess. When people hear about food from others, then they try it themselves. It tastes a lot better than it normally would. So that's it. Even Rika-chan are gorging herself on the food, getting sauce on the bib she had put to prevent her Shrine Maiden outfit from getting dirty. Nice! The older guys are getting into it too. Okay, Kei-chan, which one should I do? Right, Mion, you go to stand next to that. Show them the depths of your power! But Kei-chan, the stone next to that is... Whoops. A goldfish scooping stand. A bit out of our element. No, as club president, I won't flee no matter who or what my opponent. I feel there should be an is there. Let's get started! I look forward to a splendid performance, Mion-san. The onlookers are also watching Mion with hopeful eyes. Welcome, welcome! Here's your net and bowl! Okay, here we go. The goldfish are energetic today. They really look delicious. Small things like these, you could crunch them down whole. Mutter, mutter. Mion-san, what in the world are you saying? Mi-chan, you eat them? Did you eat the one Yanaka you last year too? No, I didn't say anything like that. Mion's face went red and she shook it vehemently in denial. I just mean, you just said so yourself that they really look delicious. Yes, you did indeed say so. My sister is omnivorous. She eats anything that can go in her mouth. If they taste good, then maybe I'll try one next time. No, Rika-chan, no, you get sick! Wait a sec. Hey, what the hell? Shion, how long have you been here? Hey, Akit-chan, Mion, everyone, good evening. Where did you come from, Shion? I've been here since the bit with the yakisoba. You were all so loud that I found you right away. Jeez. You've got nothing to do with this, do you? Go somewhere else already! Jeez, Mion, don't treat me so cruelly. Right, Kate-chan? You're okay with me being here, right? She asked, grabbing my arm and pushing her chest into it. Bounce. Kate-kun, you're a pervert! Your nose is bleeding! When you squish a jelly donut, the jelly comes out right. It's the same. And this is not something I have any control over. Is that how it works? Is that right? Then will more come out if I squeeze harder? Hey! Squeeze! She on her cleavage. It's right up against my chest. Oh. Ah! Shion, what the heck are you trying to do? How vulgar. I seem to have misjudged you. What about my flat chest? Rika-chan claps my other arm too. Rub, rub. A plentifully plump feeling in my left shoulder and the sour sensation of a young, unripe fruit on my right. Shion, Rika-chan, and I are on our faces, now bruised, fell to the ground, limbs sprawled. Nice job, Rena. Everyone's so dirty. Rena punched me. It really hurts. Rika! You get what you deserve! Sheesh. Now that Shion was here, the enemy had us about increased to about 120%. Your birthday's so much fun, Mion. I never get bored of them. Ugh, right. If you weren't here, it'd be way more fun, you know. I want to stay with you all, but if I continue seducing Kei-chan, my sister looks like she's literally going to bite my head off. So I retreat for now. I'll be back. See you, Mion! Don't be back! Get the salt! Someone get the salt! I love how much Mion just hates Shion. It's just like, get this fucking bitch away from me! I love her, but I hate her. After teasing her older sister so much, Shion ran away into the crowd of people and disappeared. Poor Mion.
I feel that I have borne witness to a rare side of Mion-san. When Mi-chan is with Shi-chan, she looks kinda cute.
Rena smiled happily, earning her a whack on the head from Mion. Don't say dumb stuff! Let's get to the next stand already! We went about just like that, really noisily and lively to the other stands. We were paying more money towards the beginning, but midway through, the guys running the shops thought we were just too funny. We ended up being able to fool around without paying much more. Thump. The vigorous sound of a big taiko drum echoed through the air.
Rika, looks like it's time. Ah, yep, looks like it.
Yep, it's about time for Rika-chan to appear in the offer entry dance.
I'm a little nervous.
Believe in yourself! All of your sweat will definitely amount to something, Rika-chan. Mion slapped Rika-chan hard on the back. That's right, you'll do fantastic, Rika!
I'll do my best. Mipa.
Yeah, that's the spirit! I balled my hand into a fist and raised into the air. We're rooting for you, Rika-chan! Go for it, yeah? Remember!
Go for it, yay!
Rika-chan gave the best smile I'd ever seen, then pivoted on her heel and ran off.
Okay, we should get going too.
Right, let's go cheer her on.
You mustn't! You must keep silent during the performance.
I got it, jeez. Put my hand through her hair. She was worried about her good friend up to the end. Then we better hurry. All the good spots will be taken. Come on! Mion ran off and everyone else followed a moment later. A large amount of people had already clustered into a tight space to watch the edifying dance. Wow, this is a lot of people. Turned around to look at everyone else, but nobody was there. Where'd everyone go? They probably got lost amongst all the people. Finally, I spotted the back of Mion's head on the other side of the crowd. Definitely doesn't look like I can get over there. Well, we got separated, no big deal. We can just meet up back when Rika-chan's dance is over. I gave up on finding the others and wandered around, trying to look for a place where I'll be able to see better. It didn't take me long to realize I'd have to settle for watching between the heads of people in front of me, though. Thump. Once again, an even louder taiko drum resounded. This one was to announce the beginning of the dance. I couldn't see very well, but it seemed that Rika-chan had come to the stage with the elders, who were in priestly garb. I heard low exultations of admiration, and the seniors rubbing their prayer beads in gratitude. Everyone's heads were in the way, and I couldn't see. It was really frustrating. We should have cut playtime short and come here to get a good spot earlier. After Rika intoned the prayer, she took the festival hoe and walked from the pile of quills stacked on the altar. That's right, the point of the ceremony was to purify bedding, and to hold a memorial service, wasn't it? Then the solemn offery dance began. She had practiced using a mochi-pounding mallet. The awkward-shaped festival hoe Rika-chan held seemed really heavy. Back and forth, up and down. It was doubtlessly difficult to even lift in the air, but she sweated and waved and raised and dropped it again and again. She couldn't just deal with it and do it grudgingly. As the shrine maiden, she needed to retain the dignity and solemnity present at this festival. There must be a ton of pressure on Rika-chan's shoulders right now. Damn, why am I cheering on a place that I can barely see her? I'm a friend, so I should be right up at the best spot rooting for her.
Kei-chan, over here.
Someone tugged lightly on the back of my shirt collar. It was Shion. She beckoned me outside the crowd ring of people. She had a mischievous grin on her face, and I took it as her saying she knew a good place nobody else knew of. Shion, what's up?
Shh, just be quiet and come with me.
After she told me so, she ran into a big detour around the throng. It's great to have someone who knows the lay of the land here at times like this. Impressed though I was, I nearly lost sight of her right away. And we're getting separated from me. I ran after her so I wouldn't get left behind. As I wandered in anticipation what kind of secret spot she had in mind, we left the crowd of people and went around the back of the shrine grounds. Hey, wait, where are we going? We're getting further and further away.
Shh, just stay quiet and follow me. You'll understand soon.
Shion gave me a wink. That reminded me of Mion as she said that. No sign of people and not much moonlight. It was dark. We had gotten pretty far away from the crowd of people in the shrine grounds. How are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance from here? I see. There's some high spot around here, isn't there? Like a rooftop somewhere we can look down at, right? What? Why do we have to climb onto the roof? Well, how else are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance? Did you really want to see Rika-chan's dance? Kei-chan, could it be your strike zone is really low? I don't think we're understanding each other here. Weren't you going to show me somewhere I could see Rika-chan's dance from easily? What? Who made that promise? Ah! What's going on? Why me? Why do I always misunderstand Shion? Is it my fault? Am I just breathing the wrong things into it? Then why did you call for me all the way out here? With an expression that indicated she wasn't fooling around, Shion pressed her index finger to my lips and said slowly and quietly, "This place is dark, dead, empty spot. You can't see it from the festival grounds, and now male and female the same age are all alone together." Could this be Shion? She's not planning something crazy again, is she? Shh! Look over there. See? Shion whispered, pointing into the dark underbrush. And there we saw two figures, one male and one female. What's that? Is that? We're right at the scene of a rendezvous, of course. See, look closely. Can you tell who they are? I peered intently into the dark at Shion's suggestion. Oh, it's Tomotake-san and Takano-san. The two of them were clearly breathing quietly and glancing around to make sure nobody knew where they were. That they were there, as they crouched before the entrance of a wooden storehouse-like building. Wait, Shion, could this be what you wanted to show me? Kei-chan, you can see Rika-chan's dance any year, but you won't get another chance like this, okay? I had thought that the Sonozaki sisters each had their own personalities, but at times like this, they really were seen all too similar. I'm going back. Don't call me for something like this again. Ah! If you move now, they'll see us! As our noisy argument, Takano-san suddenly turned around. Oh my, who might that be? We held our breaths and tried to wait it out, but it seemed Takano-san was now acutely aware of our presence. Sharon and I exchanged glances and then gave up and climbed out from behind the bush. Well, hello there! The moon sure is beautiful tonight, isn't it? My, if it isn't Shion-chan and Maebara-kun. Good evening. Yes, the moon certainly is pretty. What's this? Gage-kun, you sure are smart, you know that? Having a secret date in a place like this. Then I guess we accidentally interrupted something important. You're the ones who are meeting up secretly. Tomotake-san and Takano-san laughed to themselves, and it got on my nerves for some reason. Wait, so you two aren't having a little rendezvous then? Of course we weren't. Though I don't dislike that kind of romance. Oh, Tomotake-san. Unfortunately, this wasn't the location of a rendezvous either of you would want to see. Sorry for not living up to your expectations. If it wasn't a rendezvous, then what were you doing? Tomotake-san, were you messing around with the padlock on the door just now? Huh? After she said that, I looked at the two of them again, and I definitely saw it. They were hunched in front of the warehouse door, fiddling with a pretty heavy-looking padlock. Guess we've been found out, huh? We were trying to break into the warehouse. But don't tell anyone, alright? Don't tell anyone. You thieves or something? I demanded unthinkingly, just because of how absent Tomotake-san was grinning. Nah, never. Thieves are people who steal things, right? It's not like we were trying to take anything out of here. I see. Then why are you trying to unlock the door? This is the forbidden storehouse for ritual tools. They say only the Fudere family and a mere handful of others are allowed in. Forbidden storehouse? I took a few steps back at that and looked down the entire warehouse. It certainly looked like one, built removed from any sign of people, almost as if it in secret. It was filthy, revealing how little it was ever opened. And it was built to be durable, giving it a strange, overpowering impression. I looked at it more closely. It certainly was different than a normal warehouse. This place, they're called ritual implements. Basically, this is a warehouse where they store such tools used in rituals. Or more accurately, maybe it's a temple where the implements are enshrined. The ritual hoe Rika-chan is used for the offery dance is inside here until today. Of course, if anyone but the Fudere family enters, they bring impurity into it. So absolutely no one is allowed a single step inside it. It's a sanctuary. Shouldn't we absolutely not be coming into a place like this then? I love how fucking Keiichi is the goddamn voice of reason that's just like, hey, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do this. And they're just like, fuck it, let's do it anyway. However, Takano was wearing a childlike expression, and didn't smile at best and a terribly cruel grin at worst. I told you. I was researching Hinamizawa's folk tales and legends out of interest in them, didn't I? A lot of the answers to questions I'm curious about are hidden away inside here. I've waited all this time until today for this chance. Chance. Everybody's eyes are fixed on the dance at the shrine grounds today. This was the ultimate blind spot.
I see. I didn't know you had lockpicking skills, Tomotake-san.
Stop it. I don't want to be doing this, okay?
Sorry for taking you along with me, but this was all thanks to you, Jiro-san. I really am grateful.
Sheesh. It's the only time, understand, Takano-san? I don't want to be sneaking into places like this.
You really are a good person, Jiro-san.
Clink. Tomotake-san undid the padlock and placed it to the side. It's open.
Thank you.
At long last. Takano-san gulped. With an unusually excited air about her, she shoved the heavy door away. The sharp smell of mold and dust flowed out of the gap in the doors. I claimed curses didn't exist, but in this situation I could believe in them. If we went to such a holy place with our shoes on, it feels like we could be punished somehow.
How about it? They're accomplices too. You came all the way here, so why not come and take a tour? It'll be a little field trip to the museum with the precious cultural artifacts that conceal the secret history of Hinamizawa. And it's only open today.
We're not accomplices or anything.
Aren't you interested, though? Come on, let's take a peek,
Shion said, predictably, linking her arm with mine. But we definitely shouldn't be doing this. This is a holy warehouse, isn't it? You said ritual implements, right? I really feel like we shouldn't go in.
I'm part of the Sonozaki family, so I have good guess to what we'll find in there. But I want you to see it too, Kei-chan.
You want to show me something to me? I thought it was just a ploy, but Shion's eyes looked entirely serious. Of course, she was the sort who could lie with a straight face. Of course, I was an average boy, too. My curiosity was at least twice that of a normal person. Sleeping, forbidden treasures, never to leave this warehouse. Chances like this don't come up all that often. If I had to choose, then I want to see. Until the locked door is open, though. I don't know about this.
If you're not interested, Kei-chan, then you can leave now. I think you'll wonder about it later, though.
Tomotake-san spoke after listening to our discussion, himself having sat down on the stairs for a short rest. I'll keep watch here. Go on in and check it out with them. I'm not too interested. But it might be pretty interesting for a young guy like you, Keiichi-kun. He said, laughing mischievously. There was no ill will in his laughter. Tomotake-san, do you know what's in here? Kind of. Takano-san told me all about it.
Must be a pain to have to go along with your companion's unique hobbies, huh?
Tomotake-san didn't answer that, only responding with a pained smile. Takano-san had this kind of scary air about her, like she'd drop absolutely everything else for something she had interest in and go straight for it, but Tomotake-san, on the other hand, seemed like the gold standard of what a normal person should be. Having him tell me so frankly to go check it out suddenly made the guilt feel lighter. Okay, just a little. If it's not interesting, I'm leaving.
You got it.
Shion gave another Mion-like wink.
Looks like we're decided. Shall we go inside?
Jiro-san, we'll leave this to you. Tomotake-san waved his hand to see us off. The inside was pitch black, but Takano-san turned on the battery-powered lantern she had brought, revealing a pretty cramped front room. So dark in here. Everyone take care not to trip over anything.
I appreciate the concern.
Okay, doorman, keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now. Takano-san, smiling spitefully, as if leaving Tomotake-san out of something fun, began to close the door. Man, alright, everyone have fun. There was a low, heavy, and loud noise, and we were completely cut off from the outside world, and covered in silent darkness. Takano-san's lantern was only the light we had. It'll be fine. It's an outdoor lantern with backup batteries inside. It won't go out or anything. Looks like Takano noticed my uneasy expression. I couldn't help but blush a little and avert my gaze. Deeper inside there was a heavy and old but sturdy door with solemn decorations on it. It was the last door sealing away what was within. Strange how it has an antechamber even though it's just a warehouse, isn't it? I believe it's set up this way so that when you open one door at a time, never letting the room with all the tools be seen from the outside. Takano-san explained this, awfully impressed by the construction. But still, it's really dark in here. Huh? That, over there, I spotted a circuit breaker hanging from a clump of wiring, clumsily attached to the wall. Oh, here, isn't it a light switch or something? I flipped the biggest switch that I can find. With a click, the pitch-black room was illuminated by an old, bare light bulb. Everyone scrunched up their face at the sun's strobe-like brightness. Don't! Before she even finished, Shion slapped my hand and flipped the switch back. There was another loud click, and the room returned to darkness with only the lantern for illumination. Ow! You can't, Kate-chan! We snuck in here, remember? If you turn on the light, it might give us away! I'm scolded by Shion fairly harshly. It looked like she was worried about whether someone had seen from the momentary light. It's all right. It was only for a moment. Takano-san remained a relaxed adult. It seemed like she was confident she could talk her way out of it if someone did see us. Let's go in. Here we go. There. The even heavier door opened, and this time it wasn't just dust that came out. There was also a nasty smell. One smell was like opening a dust-filled cupboard in the back of a kitchen that hadn't been opened in years. And the other smell, the nasty one, was hard to explain. But it was like the raw odor of a fish market. From how the sound echoed, this room felt far larger than the first. Takano-san held up the lantern and revealed the contents of the expansive room. Whoa. At the back wall of the storeroom, right in front of us, was a Buddha-like holy object standing there looking down at us. I was taken aback by its unseen force, lit up by the slender beam of the lantern. That's the guardian god of Hinamizawa, Oroshiro-sama. It's far grander than the one at the shrine. Oroshiro-sama. So this is the spirit protecting Hinamizawa, the one guarding the holy land of Hinamizawa from the impurities of the outside world, and the one delivering punishment punishment after punishment upon those who attempted to soil the land with the dam project. Looks like there are far more tools stored here than I thought, but this is so sad. None of them have been maintained. How unfortunate that they're in such a state. Even in the dim light, I could see a lot of strange objects lining the walls, ceiling, and shelves. Takano-san, speaking as if in a trance, was infatuated by the various implements filling the dark room. They weren't very festival-like or traditional, but instead, they looked more like the workshop of a blacksmith or a carpenter. There were a lot of large wooden and metal tools packed in here. Putting it bluntly, it looked like all pretty boring stuff. I'd imagine there would be more artistic things in here from the Heian period, but these are a far cry from those cultural artifacts. My expression betrayed my dashed hopes, and they caught on right away. Oh, is it not interesting for you? I'm not into literature or art, so I can look at this stuff, but I don't really understand its value. Keiichi-kun, you really do look like you don't get it. I guess that's only natural. Takano-san reached into a paper bag that she had been holding the whole time, and took out a ward scrapbook and began to flip through it. Then just for you, Keiichi-kun, I'll tell you an old story. It's a common tale in this region. If you go to the library, it would even be on their recommended reading list. Telling stories in such a dark, creepy place? She must have a horror story in mind. Shion's face belayed nothing but calm. She had the same personality as Mio, and she'd have found fault with me being scared. I'll endure for now and pretend to be calm. Okay. All right, I'll read it. After confirming that I was going to be quiet and listen, she began to speak softly, like a kindergarten teacher reading a picture book. Long, long ago, in a certain village in the mountains, there was a swamp. The swamp was very, very deep. Some even called it bottomless. People said it was connected to Hell, the land of demons. The rumors say that it was deeper than the ocean, and that anyone it swallowed would sink into the underworld, a bottomless swamp. Its name was Onigafuchi. Wait, I thought back to the story I heard yesterday about the sacrifices sinking into the bottomless swamp. Could it be the swamp she's talking about? So then, the village was Hinamizawa, right? You catch on quickly. That's right. Though it was called Onigafuchi Village at the time. Onigafuchi Village. That's a pretty inauspicious name. It evokes quite the image, doesn't it? I hear that the name was changed in the Meiji period. The name of the swamp connected to Hell was called Onigafuchi, which means the demon's abyss. And the true name of this village, Hinamizawa, was Onigafuchi Village. The villagers belonged to that abyss, or to Hell, in other words. They lived their lives worshipping the swamp, said to connect to it. But then one day, demons began to appear, one after the other, from deep in the swamp. The villagers feared that Hell was overflowing. The demons mercilessly attacked the villagers. They could only watch in fear. They could do no more than to hide themselves and tremble. So, did someone exterminate them? Unfortunately, there is no Momotaro or Superman in this fairy tale. Then, did they get the whole village together to fight them? Heavens, no. The villagers weren't nearly strong enough to fight on equal terms with the demons. The only recourse would be to flee the village. They couldn't do that either. To the villagers, it was their beloved homeland. It didn't matter how terrifying the demons. They wouldn't have run away so easily. Then what did they do? Wouldn't they just get wiped out? Unable to fight and unable to run. All they could do was wait for the village to be destroyed. Then, when everyone had lost hope, their god, Oyoshiro-sama, descended onto them. I see. So Oyoshiro-sama came down from the sky and beat up all the demons then. You're such a boy, Kei-chan. You always jump straight to using force to resolve things. Shun sighed, a little annoyed. Embarrassed, I held my tongue. The thing about Oyoshiro-sama, he wasn't a violent god who'd beat them up, like you're saying. He was a kind god filled with love and benevolence. The strength of Oyoshiro-sama descended from the heavens couldn't be compared to that of the demons. They didn't even fight. They simply prostrated themselves before his radiant authority. Oyoshiro-sama urged them to go back to hell from whence they came, but the demons wept and challenged him, saying that they could never return. The world of the demons, too, was harsh commandments. They claimed that they had been banished from hell. Demons, who didn't have a place to go, either in hell or in the human world. Of course, they were at fault for attacking the village. They deeply reflected on it and were sorry. As the villagers conversed amongst themselves, little by little they came to pity the demons, and, after talking with everyone in the village, decided to live alongside them. A lot of fairy tales have been exterminated or driven away, but you don't often hear one where they live in peace. You're right. Demons are supposed to symbolize all evils. A story where they decide to live together with humans is certainly strange. When the demons first heard the villagers' invitation, they doubted their ears, but soon burst into tears of joy. The villagers had given them a place to live. It was said that in payment for their good deeds, the demons shared their many kinds of powers and secrets with the villagers. Oyoshiro-sama was very pleased with this happy exchange. He gave the demons the bodies of humans so that they'd be indistinguishable from the villagers. He himself decided to stay on the surface and watch over the everlasting peace between them. A land in which man, demon, and god lived together. I had thought the word demon was a noun meaning evil that needs to be exterminated. A god may have mediated for them, but you don't often hear happy endings where both sides live in harmony. I see. I guess it's kind of interesting. Although the normal fairy tale ends there, it was revised quite a bit during the Edo period and for a much longer story. After that, the humans and demons intermixed, and eventually there was no difference between them, so the demons ended up disappearing. No, not at all. Half of them stayed just as they were. The knowledge of the villagers had received from the demons basically made them into something inhuman. What people call transcendental. Transcendent. Transcendent. That's the word, not transcendental. There's no AL at the end. Shit! I skipped over dialogue! Crap! They were well aware the power they had was heresy, and as those below worshipped them, they lived out their lives in secrecy. The story is the root of many divergent tales and pieces of fiction. It's the foundation, the basis. What do you mean by root? She means the part where the villagers having demon blood. What I mean is, all the legends around here are based on the premise that the villagers are descended from demons. There was a hint of amusement in Shion's face as she said that. It was like she wanted to say that she too had demon blood in her. Is there any proof, though? Maybe it's somehow rooted in historical fact beyond just fairy tales. Oh. Maebara-kun, do you believe that demons really do come out of the swamp and breed with humans? It's not that I don't believe it, but when she said demons, she meant the ones from hell, but in ancient Japan, the word wasn't necessarily used to denote only that kind, right? The more well-known use of the drifting foreigner theory. As the story goes, Westerners who were shipwrecked in nearby seas were that had markedly different customs that they were called demons. Japanese people were relatively similar in appearance to other Asians, but everything about those from the Westerns were different. Why am I butchering the English language? Blah! Their physiques, their faces, their skin color. In Japan, terms like red demon and blue demon evoke images especially for Westerners. Lacking in skin pigments, Westerners would sunburn easily and turn red. Being fair-skinned, I think blood vessels appeared on their skin would look blue, too. A handful of accidental aliens would drift into Japan and came under persecution, being called demons. They would flee into the mountains to survive, turn into bandit groups, and attack villages for food and the like. How does that explanation sound? Maybe it's a bit childish. Takano gave me a weird smile when, having come to such an impromptu hypothesis, I unconsciously followed it with some self-deprecation. Still, she didn't smile as if to make fun of me. It's not ridiculous. There's a lot of people who subscribe to the drifting foreigner theory. Even so, nobody actually knows what happened. Were they a group of foreigners who turned into banditry, or were they really demons that had come up from the bottom of the world? Then, Takano-san, which one do you believe? The truth of the matter aside, I'd rather believe the more fantastic explanation. It's more fun that way, isn't it? Her answer made her sound a wee bit like a romanticist. Here I thought she'd reject realistic stories like that. Now then, this is where the fun begins. Takano-san brought an end to her storytelling and waits for a moment as if to tantalize us. Suddenly Shion looked around as if something had caught her eye. Her head bobbed to and fro, like she was making sure nothing had changed. What's wrong, Shion? I'm sorry. Please don't worry about it. Shion pretended as though nothing had happened. Takano-san also made sure nothing had happened, then cleared her throat and broached the next subject. I explained the half of the villagers were demon blood. That blood, they actually say that's the blood of the kind that eats people. Man-eating demons. That escalated quickly. That blood still runs through the villagers' veins. They say that sometimes the blood awakens from its slumber. I thought the fairy tale had a happy ending, with the humans and demons living in peace, but suddenly turned into a brutal, bloody story. Well, they eat people. They say that even every decade or so, they can't help but want to feast on human flesh. The villagers can't eat other villagers, so when this happens, it says they descend on the human villages and conducted onikakushi. What's an onikakushi? Broadly speaking, it's when a demon kidnaps someone, when a person is demoned away. They say that the villagers of Onigafuchi would overwhelm unfortunate villagers in order to kidnap sacrifices. Takano-san's explanation was plain and simple, but when I imagined what it must have been like, it was terrifying. They lose their human reason. The villagers turn into real demons en masse. They attack the villages that they loathe in the dirty world of the masses below, and then they kill and eat their sacrifices. So they're no different from demons after all. What did Oroshiro-sama do? Wasn't he supposed to be staying in the village and watching over them? Oroshiro-sama knew about it, of course. Onikakushi isn't indiscriminate. The villagers apparently never kidnapped anyone other than the sacrifices dependent upon their god. In the text, it's usually one or two people. A village inhabited by those both human and inhuman. It was like the heartwarming episode's colors had been inverted, like negative film, revealing the painful, ugly truth. So, on the nights when they raided villages, they would feast on their kidnapped sacrifices, which is why the night came to be known as Watanagashi. Watanagashi. Tonight's festival was Watanagashi. I just couldn't reconcile the fun festival with the horrible tale Takano was telling me. Watanagashi, well, wasn't it? Wasn't about giving thanks to the futons we used over the winter or something? Kei-chan, Wata has another meaning, you know. It means entrails. Shion, who had been silent till now, spoke up. Entrails? Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Like fish guts. Wait, what? Like a jigsaw puzzle, the fun times I had today and Takano-san's grotesque tale clicked together in my mind. Watanagashi. So, gut spilling. I didn't think saying that would ever feel so nauseating. Yes, it's as you imagined, Mayabara-kun. Right now, the Watanagashi festival might just be somewhat early summer festival occurring every June, but it used to be different. It used to be a ghastly cannibalistic feast, held on the night the villagers would collect their unfortunate dinner. That can't be true! I had no reason to say that, but I couldn't help it. Mayabara-kun, you said that Watanagashi is a festival about purifying futons, right? What do you think the futons, filled with cotton, with wata, represent? Futons are futons! They're beds! They're things we're sleeping in! What else could they possibly represent? I was rattling on, desperately attempting to deny the horrible festival that Takano-san was describing. Deep down, however, I found myself understanding all too well what she meant. Futons, stuffed with cotton. If the cotton represented entrails in both pronunciation and meaning, then entrail-filled futons would have to be humans. Why don't you think back to the offery dance Rika-chan performed? Do you know what she was doing up there? No, I don't. I didn't even watch the whole thing anyway, glares at Shion. Shush! Kei-chan, you're getting too worked up. Shion grabbed one of my ears, reminding me that this wasn't somewhere I should raise my voice. Even so, I couldn't respect this agitation I feel. Rika-chan was carrying a festival hoe. You've probably realized it already, but it's not a hoe for plowing fields. It's a tool for dissecting human bodies. I didn't see the dance all the way through, so I don't know what kind of performance Rika-chan was putting on after I'd left. When I told this to Takano-san, she kindly explained Rika-chan's dance to me. To summarize what she said, after what I had seen, Rika-chan would pierce the futons with that hoe, cut them open, and pull out the cotton inside. She'd cut the cotton out one bit at a time and set it afloat. That's the kind of ritual it was. Broadly speaking, it's quite the bombastic ceremony, where they'd rip out the guts and throw them into a basin, and then the ritual was over. It was thought that afterwards the villagers, each with a different role, dismantled the flesh piece by piece, and feasted upon it. At Takano's strangely happy giggle, I felt, for some reason, violent displeasure. Rika-chan, every day during our lunch break, she'd take a rice-pounding mallet into the schoolyard. She worked so hard, sweating bullets, to practice for the offertory dance that she had done today. All that effort, all that work. Takano-san disgraced it, even though she worked so hard to practice for today. Takano-san, I think you should choose your words more carefully. Kei-chan's pretty naive, so please don't tease him so much. A moment before I opened my mouth to express how angry I was, Shion stopped me. Shion must have been fully aware of how the story made me feel. I'm sorry. I thought you'd like a story with that kind of shock value since you're a boy. Takano-san spoke without a hint of malice as she smiled gracefully. After hearing all that, did you figure out what kind of stuff is in this storehouse, Kei-chan? See, look. Shion pointed out to one of the walls, vaguely illuminated by the lantern's light. There was. Mere moments ago, they hadn't held my interest. They were just boring-looking tools lined up on the shelves. Ugh. All those uninteresting tools that I didn't understand how to use, they all suddenly took on a new meaning, and I couldn't help but let out a groan. At first they looked like carpentry tools, like chisels or planes. However, when I thought back, I'd seen pictures of these sort of tools before. Yeah, they came up in Japanese history books. Yes, on the page introducing the Kantai Shinsho, or the new text on anatomy. These sort of things. They're printed realistically in the literature of Germany, capital of the medical world. These aren't carpentry tools. These strangely shaped tools. They're for dissection. Everyone knows that in the Edo period, they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain knowledge about Western medical techniques. Illustrations of the dissection tools they used at the time came up in textbook supplements. The things hung up on the wall all looked exactly the same as those. If you want a scary way of looking at it, thinking of them as cooking utensils. Takano-san, holding the lantern, the only light in the room, led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her whether I liked it or not. Look! Takano-san illuminated a coiled chain, which left a bigger impression than the other things we saw. The chain itself was nothing unusual, but further along there were metal feathers that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people. Kei-chan, look at that! Shion tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to a restraining table that was clearly shaped like a person. My spine froze. My blood felt like it turned to sherbet as it crawled up my back. At each of the joints, there was something like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next sacrifice, ready to spread their arms wide and close them in. It's probably a chopping block. I think you'd strap the sacrifice down to prep them for eating. The words chopping block sent a jolt through my body. When I looked more closely, there were many dark slices carved into it, as though from a knife or saw. They were the most clear-cut signs of usage you could ask for. It proved these tools weren't just for show. They were used for their original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly into this table, they probably wouldn't be able to move even a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You'd take one of those eerie cooking knives lined up there over there and stab them with it. And then you'd slice them open with their belly and dissect them. I'm not grossed out by this because it's really not that bad, but it is really disgusting. And also, I just had curry, and I really don't want to, fucking hurl chunks. I don't want to toss my cookies, okay? I'd heard the stories, but this is incredible. After coming in here, Shion had mentioned she had good guess what was inside, but it seemed that it exceeded her imagination. There's still more. How about it? More fantastic than a wax museum, isn't it? Takano-san had this happy expression while she was visiting a toy store, like she was visiting the toy store for the first time. I don't get it. This Mio Takano person had nerves of steel. Are these bizarre, grotesque things, objects, that fascinating to her? I, for one, am not enjoying myself. I'll be frank. This was all too weird for me. Still, there was something even more horrifying than all this. It'd be none other than Takano-san herself. Takano-san holding the lantern, giving off such a thin beam of life. If she suddenly turned it off, then I would... What would I do when, the next moment, everything went totally dark? That's why I was scared. Takano-san was the only light. And anyway, I was scared. At some point, Shion started holding onto my shirt sleeve. It was a little annoying to walk around like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the presence of an ally here and now. Before we had even walked halfway through the storehouse, the air I felt on my skin changed completely. These cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones, made to take away Sacrifice's freedom, and some were tools made to efficiently disassemble and prepare the bodies for consumption. Those were just the things I understood. There were plenty of odd, strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reasons they were meant to be used for. At the very least, they were all completely different from the sort of clean, simple cleaning functions of a katana. Tools to kill people were obviously constructed in such a way that they could kill people. If that was the goal, the person who you used them on would obviously end up dead. The kinds of tools here, however, were different. The tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them, for boiling them and cooking them, and for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. Actually, they might not even kill them. If the sacrifice could die during such a horrifying ritual process, that would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now in this moment did I fully realize just how terrifying and fearsome that difference was. People, you see, most of these wouldn't kill them if used properly. Takano-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile. Burning at the stake, the famous method for the execution of witches, will kill the person immediately. When the body suffers extreme burns on the skin all over, the decomposition of the skin's chemical makeup produces poison-like symptoms and causes an immense shock to the victim. Though I suppose it's still very cruel compared to the guillotine. You have to wait far longer for that to happen. She described such horrors in a strangely medical way. Shion immediately answered the question I had. Takano-san is a nurse. There's a saying that nothing can scare a doctor. I guess it's true. Oh, and also, there was a method of execution in ancient Rome where they would grill the person, just like a barbecue. They would cover the person in wire netting and slowly cook them over a charcoal fire. To think the memories of when I went to a day camp with my family would come rushing back now of all time so vividly. That's what it was like. Apparently they wouldn't die too easily for some reason. According to one source, even if they roasted one side of a person to a crisp for an entire night, they would still be conscious and able to speak fluently. That's insane. You'd grill a person the whole day and they'd still be conscious. He said that ancient Rome, famous for their executions, thought of plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible. Among them, there was one method where they would open the gut, pull out the intestines like sausages, pull them up with a winch, and put them on public display. She was behind me, clinging to me. Not just because she was scared. She was protecting her stomach. You wouldn't think someone with their intestines pulled out would die instantly, right? Actually, as long as you do it tenderly and thoroughly, it's apparently possible to pull them all out while the person is still conscious. I felt a sick feeling in my stomach. It was like my organs were coiling up just from Takano's stare. Though pulling them out with a winch was a rather exaggerated method. In a more barbaric way, they might slice open the gut, then cut the intestines out and throw them everywhere. It's quite imaginable they did dreadful things like that too, isn't it? However, those being put to death are conscious. It's far more terrifying than painful. She spoke with pleasure, as if she had come here on a sightseeing trip. I heard Shion gulping multiple times near my ears. Perhaps Hinamizawa, or other Onigafucha village, did something like that for the Watanagashi festival. Listen, if you try hard, can't you hear it? I want nothing more than not hear anything at all. So why only at times like this do I begin to hear things I shouldn't be able to? Takano-san, having realized she scared Shion and I enough to this point, smiled soothingly. Then she turned on her heel, raised the lantern, and began to walk again. If Takano-san left us here, we'd get even further away from the light. Shion and I, no matter how scared we were forced to follow Takano-san along on her field trip through the ritual storehouse. Fucking Takano-san is fucking crazy! I suppose we've seen a bit of everything. See? This place is interesting, isn't it? She says, raising the lantern high to the center of the storehouse. The dim lighting didn't change, but for some reason it felt like I was able to see all those horrible tools at once. Ketcha, look up, Shion stammered while grabbing the nape of my neck. Oh. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there's a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured it out. Cages. The cages, they were very small. Cramped cages, just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there. No, you wouldn't get locked up inside it. There's another tool meant for restraining people, where the iron bars would squeeze you tightly. So many, big and large. Things of all shapes were hanging down. Takano-san's method of execution by grilling crossed my mind. They weren't just surrounded on all sides by these terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling were even hanging over our heads. There are many sorts of stories of bird cages among European torture devices. I'm surprised to see them in Japan as well. Ketcha, is there something in there? A person? A mummy? Huh? Where? Shion desperately pointed to one of the many human-sized bird cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way that I could tell if there was something in there in the first place. I don't see anything. You sure you're not seeing things? Shion didn't seem convinced, but without a means to confirm for ourselves, we couldn't do much but wonder. Maebara-kun, after seeing this, have you come to believe at all of it? The countless terrible rituals passed down in Hinamizawa? It's got nothing to do with believing in them. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and legends, were like a maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. It's well known that the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. Didn't it have its own era of hellscape, like torturous feasts because of religious suppression and things of that nature? Hinamizawa itself had such a period. It had that much history behind it. Even in Europe, land of witch hunts, that was all far in the past, no more than a series of historical events. In this age, nothing that abnormal would ever happen. That must apply to Hinamizawa as well. Just as Europe had its Dark Age, Hinamizawa had one too. That's how it should be taken. Even if those things all really happened in Hinamizawa, they're all long past. They don't have anything to do with the people living in Hinamizawa right now. Maebara-kun, you really do like this village. Didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Takano-san gave me a light smile. Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survived into the present. You are, right? Shion suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me that all these horrible things are still going on even today? What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan, because you're the understanding person, but other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished. Shion flashed a devilish smile, as if reveling in the immortality of it. Maebara-kun, you keep it a secret too, okay? If this gets out, I could suffer Oshiro-sama's curse, or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it will be this year. If it's the sacrifice, then will I be thrown in the Onigafucha swamp while I'm still alive? It's tonight, you know, the night of the Oshiro-sama's curse. Takano-san said, bringing her face right up close to ours, as if to say she had a choice. She'd rather suffer the curse. That was what she seemed to be implying. Takano-san took a fairly worn-out notebook out of her paper bag and began to flip through its pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them, and it had all manner of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance what it was about. What I'd really like to do is search through the National Library of newspapers from the era, but here it is. A photocopy of a page from some book was slid into the notebook, and it too had written in small tight lettering. Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it. This is the story that actually happened. It was around the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, the victim of murder in Onigafuchi village. An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no rumor, mere rumor or fairy tale. We don't have most police documents from that time anymore, so it's all based on oral traditions and memories. See, it's not very clear, but it looks like a cutout of a newspaper from the Meiji era. Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be the work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it's very hard to make it out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. Near the end of the Meiji era, in old Nigafucha village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. It wasn't even in a state where it could be identified in the first place. It was missing a head, and each limb was separated from the body. Skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were markings that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. Not only that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife, with the entrails completely dragged out. The police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't even determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, finding answers was extremely difficult. Do you understand what it must have been like? I couldn't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. This was the first time I was ever thankful for my lack of imagination. The victim was skinned while still alive, underwent all kinds of torture, and was killed brutally. The author here also thinks that even after death, the remains were divided and dissected, even further, the epitome of inhumanity. I'm of the opinion that the entire process was performed while the person was still alive, though. What do you think, my Barakun? She's spoken away, intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. As my brain was already far over capacity, however, there was no way I could imagine anything more brutal. Then when I broke my gaze from Takano-san, those strangely shaped tools were all around us. I wonder if you could faithfully reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of the Meiji era, with the tools found in this place. I wanted to deny it. I don't want to admit that something so terrible could have happened at all. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying, these tools. And as if they had seen through my attempt to escape from them, they did nothing but ridicule me silently. So that creepy incident, what was it, in the end? The author says that regarding Onigafuchi village's dreadful customs, they survived into the recent post-Meiji days, and that perhaps they lasted until around the beginning of the Showa period. This corpse, which at a glance would have been brutally killed after a period of torture. In actuality, however, it was the pitiful sacrificial remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange that it didn't feel real. Was this an extension of legends too? It happened in the Meiji era, though, which is just too recent to be called a legend. Also, there's a newspaper clipping right here suggesting it. Not a copy, but a copy, though! Okay, but even if it really happened, it was a long time ago, right? I mean, the Meiji era ended 100 years ago. That's all. Only 100 years ago. Besides, it kept happening even after the beginning of the Showa period. Like with the uproar about the post-war canned flesh incident. Oh, I apologize. The story was taboo, wasn't it? Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared. Huh? Takano-san, what did you just say? Canned flesh? Just then, there was a huge creaking noise. Everyone whipped around to look. It was Toмотake-san, who had opened the door slightly. Did I startle you? Oh, Jiro-san, could not resist seeing inside. This splendid treasure trove of torture devices. I'll pass on that. I'm bad with that sort of thing by nature. Takano-san held her stomach and had to muffle her laughter, as if she wanted to make a comment about his masculinity. Don't make fun of him! I'd be in the same situation! Fuck you, Takano-san! In any case, the dance and ceremony are over, and everyone's going down the stream. The festival will be over within minutes. Oh, that's no good. My Barakun is just such a good listener that I couldn't help telling stories. I'd really rather you not mention me in a place like this. Jiro-san, can you wait out front? I want to take a few pictures. There's actually a lot of tools I'd like to bring home, but we obviously can't do that. Takano-san took a camera out of her paper bag and began to snap photographs. She looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt. Keiichi-kun, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I did feel a bit of hesitation at leaving Takano-san by herself in this darkness, When I thought about it, though, I realized that whatever kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurk in the darkness, none of them could hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if a phantasm were to appear, she'd be overjoyed and flash her camera at it. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. We left Takano-san there, bathed in her strobe camera flashes, and decided to go leave the ritual stairhouse. Yeah, let's not forget that it was fucking goddamn forbidden! Everyone in the festival seemed to have gone to the stream, so their voices were very distant. The voices on the bugs, on the other hand, were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place. Sorry, I had to adjust. How was it? Interesting? Terrible, I hated it. I want to smash Takano's face in. Tomatake-san gave us a somewhat mischievous grin. She should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces were. Should have kept lots outside with you, Tomatake-san. Tomatake-san laughed so delightfully that it wiped away our dark feelings. How did you fare, Shion-chan? Were you scared? I was prepared for it, so I wasn't too afraid, but seeing the real thing was powerful. Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing as she was how I was in a way worse state than her, I don't have much room to talk. As Tomatake-san grinned candidly, my mind, exhausted and locked up by nervousness, began to calm itself. Was Takano-san an adult about this little expedition? You know how she seems like a child sometimes? I was worried she'd be way too excited, but Shion and I laughed, and left that as our answer. Hopefully she'll only be only looking at things, or she'll sneak something out of here, or mess with ritual implements too much and break it or something. Right, that's quite possible. She is alone in there, I know. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed, hiding in her pocket. Yeah, I can see that. Shion said what I was thinking. You sure she didn't break anything? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. I'm sorry. I ran out of film. Jiro-san, if you have some more, could I use some? Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Tomatake-san smoothly grinned and responded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature. I'm all out of spare film. Sorry about that. Jeez. You won't win any Pulitzer Prizes by not stocking enough film for any occasion, you know. I suppose that's it then. Tomatake-san scratched his head apologetically. Without film, we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left anything inside, and then closed the door and turned the heavy padlock we had left beside it. Takano-san, you didn't sneak anything out, right? How rude. I'm trying not to be that childish. Clink. Tomatake set the padlock back the way it was before. From a cursory glance, it didn't look like thieves had snuck in at all. Okay, let's get over to the stream ourselves. If we don't at least set some cotton afloat, there won't be any point in coming to the festival. Tomatake-san spoke brightly, urging us all on, setting cotton afloat down the stream. I shake my head a few times, driving away my dismal thoughts as of the double meaning. Takano-san, looking a little let down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse. Let's leave it at that, alright? You saw enough to sate your curiosity, didn't you? Oh, not at all. Everything I found only renewed my interest. All those stories and legends suddenly hold water. After today, I'm going to have it change the way I look at all of this. Wow, she's pretty indomitable. Her curiosity really is something else. Still interested in all this through and through. Takano, you scared the shit out of me. I hate you. Takano, you're fucking weird! We ascended the stone stairs, and all the people crowding the stream came into view. Yeah, no, I'm sure all of our friends are really fucking confused on why we weren't there. Near the bottom of the stairs, we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out for them, and wishing upon the cotton and setting it down the stream. The festival's already over. Damn! I missed my chance to photograph the best part of the Watanagashi! Oh, but it's not too late. I'm going to go and set some afloat. Perhaps you can take pictures of me. Takano-san, with an impish expression, brought her head to Tomatake-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt an honest respect for Tomatake-san, man to man, for dating such a handful of a woman. Goodbye then, Maebara-kun, Shion-chan. We're going down to the stream. Would you like to come with us? No, I couldn't get in your way. Please, take your time. Shion waved her hand at them with an expression just as impish in Takano-san's. Tomatake-san on his part seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down the stone steps. I'm pretty worn out. Same here. I'm exhausted too. Kei-chan, this is your first Watanagashi, isn't it? You go on, don't mind me. I'm tired, so I'd like to stay away from the crowd. Yeah, as if we were to go now, we'd barely slip into the end of the cotton drifting ceremony. My sister and your other friends might be looking for you too. Go on. Oh, yeah, right. They've been by themselves ever since we got separated. I'll feel bad if they were looking for me. Then Shion suddenly got a playful look on her face and put her index finger to her lips as if telling me to keep this a secret. My sister is the type that gets really jealous. If she knew I was talking to you this whole time, she'll never let me hear the end of it. So keep tonight a secret, okay? Keep tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing. Not only because of that, either. Considering what we were doing tonight, we really need to keep it secret. Otoshiro-sama's curse might happen tonight, and we four might be the prime candidates. The loosening threads of tension began to taut again. Shion, however, burst out laughing. Alright, I'm going to get out of here before I run into my sister. I really am tired, so I don't have the endurance to put up with her anyway. I can't tell if you're getting along with her or not. We get along. Though as she said that, her vague expression explained that there were a lot of oddities in the relationship between twins. I'm an only child, so I don't really get it. Make sure you get along with her, okay? Right. Thank you kindly for meddling. Okay, I'm gonna go. You should hurry up if you want to make it, Kei-chan. Watanagashi really is about to end. Shion stood up, brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I turned my eyes to the final ceremony of the Watanagashi festival below me. Seriously, though, what was that sound anyway? It's kind of unpleasant and creepy. Huh? What sound? The sound. You know, the banging noise? It was really loud, wasn't it? I was giving her a blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. I stared hard at her, too. Sorry, Shion, could you give me the short version? What was making noise? Wait, Kei-chan, it didn't bother you? When all is said and done, it was like we were speaking two different languages. Shion, explain it to me without jokes from the beginning, will you? What's this about noise? Kei-chan, you quit joking around too. Really, honestly, it didn't bother you? Either of us was getting any ground, and both of us were staring at each other in disbelief. We were answering questions with more questions, with no sign of actual conversation in sight. Baffled, I held in the urge to shout at her, and asked politely one more time. I'm going to ask one more time, okay? I'll ask the question. Shion nodded silently. Okay, here goes. You said there was a sound. What are you talking about? The banging sound. It was like a kid was jumping up and down on floorboards somewhere far away. It really didn't bother you? There was nothing to be bothered by. When did you hear this? I never heard anything. Wait, Kei-chan, are you serious? Shion, as if she had never understood my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she's talking about, but if it has Shion acting up like this, whatever it was, gives me the creeps and sent a chill down my spine. It was while we were looking around the inside of the ritual storehouse with Takano-san. About the time when she started telling us stories, I think it was. Little by little, louder and louder, off and on. She heard a banging sound, like a child jumping on distant floorboards. That can't be true. Don't start trying to scare me after all that. I didn't hear anything at all. In fact, it was so utterly silent in there that my own heartbeat was almost deafening. Please, don't try to scare me either, Kei-chan. It was like something was making noise in time with Takano-san's creepy stories, and I was totally creeped out the whole time. I'm gonna sneeze. That was a sneeze cough. Ow! A chill rose from my spine to the back of my head. My blood turned cold as it crawled up my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze over. You and Takano-san weren't paying attention to it at all, so I pretended not to hear it either, but you heard it, right? It happened a bunch of times, and it was really loud. Shion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt, however, that my own eyes suggested something entirely different. You've got to be kidding, look. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying old stories. The whole time, Shion had been hearing a sound we couldn't hear by herself. Should that make Shion, who we heard it, tremble, or should it make me, who didn't hear it, tremble? I didn't know the answer to that at the time. For now, Shion seemed to have made that decision before I did. What are you laughing about? I really got you, Kei-chan. I was pipping the whole time. What? Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was, and clapped me on the back. Her smile seemed somehow artificial, and actually made me feel worse. Then after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left, almost like she was running away. Tomatake-san also made mention of a noise. As I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. Shion laughed it off and said she had been lying, but she couldn't possibly have been lying. Of course not. Now that I think back, Tomatake-san said the same thing! Yeah! I could clearly hear some noise, like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. Tomatake-san, the most neutral party present at the time, had said he heard something. Then that noise, it was real? The banging sound. Sounds as though a child was jumping up and down on some kind of floorboards far away. Oroshido-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. The most plausible victim candidates were Takano-san, Tomatake-san, Shion, and me. The bustling of the people sounded further away than I would have liked. The sounds of the insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet I can't ever go back there again. That was the ominous idea that sprouted in my mind. Then all of a sudden I was pounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch. Keiichi, we found you. Where's Rika-chan? When I turned around, Mion and Rena were there too. Mion sighed and said, "We finally found you! Now we just need to find Sadako." Everyone got split up this year. We should make sure we have somewhere to meet up afterwards next year. Oh. You're right. It's a festival, so we should all be together. I listened to Mion's happy declaration with a little bit of guilt. Keiichi, did you root for me while I was dancing? Oh yeah, I saw it all. You did a great job all the way through. No mistakes either. Yeah, that's right, Rika-chan. That didn't count as a mistake. I tensed up as I realized I had made a mistake of my own. Mion slapped a hand on my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out over my whole body. Did you do it too, Keiichi-chan? Did you get some cotton and send it down the stream? You haven't yet, right? Is that what I could feel from her saying? Without the courage to tell any more lies, I lifelessly shook my head. Huh? You haven't, Keiichi-kun? You should go now or it'll be over. Sorry. This is my first Watanagashi, so I don't really understand the rules and stuff. That's right. I'm sorry. Mion took my hand and we started walking down the stone steps. Hey, Kei-chan. What? Did you see Shion? My heart skipped another beat. Maybe Mion could sense my surprise through my hand. No, well, I sort of think I saw her. You two look so alike, though, so it might have been you. You wouldn't have gotten that wrong. You're wearing different clothes. Huh? Oh, that's right. Mion's momentary silence was like a death breath upon me. I just can't do anything about that, Shion. Well, if it's her we're talking about, then we can just leave her be. Mion's expression returned to her former usual smile, and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. We can't lie to Mion! She can see right through us! We can't be this big of morons, can we? Also, this is a really long chapter. Is that the end of the chapter? God, that chapter is over an hour and a half long. That's a very long time. Oh, yep, there it is. More T-ops. One second. Yeah, there we go. Okay, run the scrapbook. This is Takano's scrapbook now that we know that. Watanagashi. The rite of Watanagashi is performed during a village festival every June, even now, but the reading back to its origin came up as a serious Santine ceremony. Originally, Watanagashi would happen to be fixed at fixed intervals. After receiving Oroshido-sama's trust, they chose a sacrifice. Then the entire village would kidnap, demon away, the person, and ceremonially dissect and devour them in a feast. The rules that determined the intervals were shrouded in mystery. This is because the ceremonies occurred extremely irregularly. There's a theory that it was determined based on astrological fortune-telling, but it isn't too convincing. The residents of ancient Onigafucha village firmly believed that they were half-man, half-demon transcendents, and that they were more valuable than the humans were, and they forced people within and without to accept that. Perhaps the act of kidnapping and eating people was done to prove that they were higher up on the food chain. This is just a hypothesis, but maybe the rite of Watanagashi was a political event for the purpose of either being an outlet or outright diverting the attention of the villagers of the isolated Onagafuchi village, in case any of their complaints or dissatisfaction grew serious. If that was the main reason these ceremonies were held, then it's easy to explain how erratic they were. The alleged importance of the implements. I can't find anything that gives me a concrete description on what the ritual implements were like. They were, however, real, and there definitely existed a multitude of different kinds. One source states that the implements used in the Watanagashi rite alone numbered 200. The obvious question, then, is why they required such a myriad of them. The rite of the Watanagashi was to kidnap people through the demoning away, dissect them, and eat them. I believe the tools were for dissection and restraining, but 200 of them is far too many. Generally, tools involved in such a way as to reach a solution for a certain problem. Once you reach the ultimate goal, that is, attaining a certain level of efficiency, the tool's evolution normally stops there. Regardless, why would they be creating so many different kinds? One of the cultural elements responsible for diversification over time is that of entertainment. Tools used for entertainment would evolve over time and branch out. Unlike normal tools, reaching the ultimate goal would be more of a dead end, and in searching for the new goal, they would split into many different subtypes. So then, perhaps it's not a stretch to suggest that the 200-plus implements had some entertainment value. This is just a hypothesis, of course, but maybe the human dissection process was viewed as a type of entertainment. The three families of old would develop one new implement, dissection tool, after one another, and each was varied, novel, and attracted some spectators to keep them from growing bored. It's not unimaginable. All of them have to be enshrined within that storehouse. There isn't much longer until the night of Watanagashi, though its original intent had been lost. I revealed the secrets of the traditional ceremonial night within the ritual storehouse. I can't restrain my excitement. Watanagashi cannot come soon enough. Takano, you fucking crazy! You crazy, lady, you crazy. Bitches be crazy. Late that night, tensions in the police station were strained. In the silence, many of the staff members' eyes shifted back and forth between the clock and their telephones, counting the seconds in that stifled the atmosphere. Kumagaya-kun burst in with a young man trailing behind him. Oshi-san! I've got the autopsy report. The corpse physician just got here. I'm ready to go, sir. I'll head straight for Gifu. Kuma-chan, things have gotten a bit complicated. They appear to be having a difficult time determining who the victim is. Could they have been dismembered? Nope. Cooked to a nice light brown. He spoke in sportive tones, but the meaning behind the words were heavy. The staff gave a collective sigh. All the way, head to toe, completely blackened, it seems. Probably smells terrible, too. What a shame it is to be Gifu-san. Cooked with no possessions, then discarded outside the prefecture. At worst, it would have taken a week for the body to be identified. The fact that they sniffed it out tonight was huge. Komiyama-kun and a few others are performing a thorough night raid on the dentist in Okiyamiya. All they could do is hope a tooth matches some medical records. Sorry. Could someone buy me 1 or 2 boxes of ultra mild? He answered in affirmation and darted out into the hallway. They did an excellent job finding it this year. It couldn't be that the person who disappeared in the past years were scattered outside the prefecture like this, too. Then why not bury them? Or sink them into the Sea of Japan, or Lake Biwa, or something like that. Why, though? Hasn't the pattern so far been one person dies and another disappears? Kuma-chan, the corpse was inside an oil drum, unrestrained and cooked. They probably burned them after strangling them. They knew it would be found. So what you mean is from the beginning they didn't want a person to disappear this year? Not so much as they just aren't related. The person didn't disappear, in fact. Whoever did it seems to have wanted to make a show of it. You mean it could be a warning? He folded his arms and then heaved a long and heavy sigh. That might have been the case had it happened in town. If they had messed up, taking the victim far away and burning them alive wouldn't have been noticed. If it's meant as a warning, they should have done it closer to Hinamizawa. They wanted to emphasize the fact that they killed the victim, but instead of doing it somewhere for dramatic effect, they did it outside the prefecture. Did they want to emphasize it or hide it? Boy, do I wonder what Orishiro-sama's up to this year. A telephone ring cut through the heavy silence. A staff member nearby snatched at the receiver. Oshi-san! It's Komiyama! They have it! The dentist clinic in the Okiyamiya fixed the wisdom tooth 3 years ago. What about the records? complete with x-rays. Well, I feel bad for waking up the dentist before dawn. Kuma-chan, get out there as soon as you can and get the direct records from Komiyayama-kun. Will do. Oh, it's the chief. Thank you for coming out this hour. Oshi-san, my apologies for my lateness. What's the situation? Well, it's just getting good, you see. We're all getting fired up. Woohoo! Woohoo! Just turn Oshi-san into fucking goddamn Mario. He doesn't have a beard, though. It wouldn't work. Woohoo! It's me, Oshi! I can't do that. I had a great big yawn. It was like morning had arrived just as I got to sleep. As Mom set up breakfast, she gave me a pained smile. What's the matter, Keiichi? What time did you go to bed last night? Well, I wanted to go to sleep at midnight, but I had some trouble with that. You're probably all worked up in the festival. No, that's not it! I crunched down hard on the pickled radish to hide my embarrassment. Now I was having horrible nightmares! After all that happened yesterday and our discussion about the sound Shion heard, that banging noise like a child far away, jumping up and down the wooden floor, the story wouldn't get out of my head, so I had trouble sleeping. It was a long night. I kept jumping at the slightest sound of faraway tree branches, which should have been either unhearable or too insignificant to notice. When I woke up in the morning sunlight and birds chirping, it made me feel pretty ashamed about it, but I felt far from refreshed this morning. It just kind of howls on the school. Keiichi-kun, good morning. Huh? Keiichi-kun, your eyes are all red. Why is that? Why? Oh, hey. Good morning. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm sleep deprived today. The festival yesterday was a lot of fun. Rena's excitement took a long time to go to sleep, so I took a long time to go to sleep too, In Rena's case, her excitement seemed to still be wide awake. They should have this kind of festival more often, so we can have lots of fun together, huh? Oh yeah. Rena talked about the festival yesterday and made me remember everything I had nearly forgotten about yesterday. Terrible visions of horrible, gruesome murders and torture. The inside of the ritual storehouse had been so utterly different from the relaxed, bright, everyday life of Hinamizawa. All those stories that Takano-san told me, too. The mysterious incidents that occurred on the day of the Watanagashi festival every year. The strange incidents where one person would die and one would disappear. The old stories of Hinamizawa flickered like a candle behind them. The numerous and horrifying traditions of Onigafuchi village. The villagers with demon blood in them. The terrible cannibalistic feasts. The forced sacrifices kidnapped from human villages of the Onigakushi. To quell the rage of Otoshiro-sama, the ritual involving living sacrifices. There are also many, many others. There were so many stories that just remembering them put me in a foul mood. Most of them weren't fiction either, they were true. We didn't need to fear them just because they were real, though. Since it all happened so long ago. Such a very long time ago. 100 years isn't very long, you know. Where's Michan? She's late. Huh? Before I realized it, we had arrived at the place where we usually meet with Mion. Probably because I was so lost in thought. We agreed that if she isn't here by now, we can just go on ahead, right? Should we? Mion being late wasn't too rare an occurrence, but today she was unusually late. A few of the ominous tales from last night, from the night before, came back to my mind again. Who would die this year and who would disappear? Couldn't have been Mion. What should we do, Keiichi-kun? If we don't get going, we'll be late. She'll be here. She didn't call to tell us that she'd be staying home today, right? Let's wait 5 more minutes. Okay? Rena looked at her watch and seemed a little worried, but then she nodded with a satisfied smile. If we had to wait 5 minutes, we'd have to run as fast as we could to school or we'd be late. As soon as I thought that, we spotted Mion, running towards us out of breath. Michan, you're late! Ha! Ha! You waited? You should have just gone on ahead! Mion was breathing heavily and her face was all red. Her house was right down this road, wasn't it? Wasn't far enough for her to end up like this, was it? Michan, are you not feeling well? Huh? Unless she mentioned it. Rena pushed Mion's bangs away and put her head to her forehead. Rena, your hands are pretty cold. Michan, you're a little bit warm. I did just run here. It's no big deal. Give it a half a day and I'll be fit as a fiddle. Nothing like a murderous village. Are you really okay? You don't have to push yourself, you know. What's this? Kei-chan, are you worried about me? That's nice of you. That answer wasn't like Mion at all. She must have had it pretty bad. It's Shion! It has to be!
I just think you shouldn't push yourself so hard. You can tell the teacher you can take the day off.
I'm fine. I took some medicine. I think it's already working. Mion forced an energetic expression onto her face and flexed her biceps at us. Okay, then let's go. Don't overdo it, but of course there's the time.
Ah! We need to run or we won't make
it! This morning sure is thrilling. Maybe it's just what I need to shake off all the slowness. Let's run! Hey, wait, you're sick! Don't go overboard! Mion began to run vigorously away anyway.
Yi-chan is older than us, right? She knows her own body better than anyone.
I decided to leave it at that and assume she was fine. Great, then we should get going too. I began to run after Mion. School looked the same as always. The hours passed listlessly and my lack of sleep took its toll. If there was a sport where people competed by sleeping, I'd be world champion right now. The trick to overcoming this sort of dangerous situation was to hold your pencil upside down. Why, you ask? So you don't draw strange patterns all over your notes while half asleep. If you were holding your pencil upside down, that wouldn't happen, right? Bump, 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 bump. Something like that felt like an eraser hit my head 6 times. What was that for, Sadako?
I haven't done a single thing.
Who else would be playing a prank on me like this? Oh, it's chalk, not an eraser. Eh? Oh god, it's the teacher! Behind me, like a female outlaw might hold razors, was the teacher's shadow holding 3 pieces of chalk in each hand. Rumble, rumble, rumble. My Bana-kun! Go ahead and wash your face! Right. Gladly. That alone was enough to wake me up, but I flew out into the hallway as if shoved out by the pressure exerted by the teacher's sheer power. If I was going to wash my face anyway, then I'd rather use the sinks out front, rather than the ones in the dark restroom. Thinking that, I left the hallway and went out to the entrance. The sunlight was strong. So strong you wouldn't think it was June. I turned the faucet, and with a lifeless, bubbling noise, lukewarm water came pouring out. If I let it run for a few minutes, would it get cold? I looked at it absent-mindedly for a little while. I knew you'd choose these things, Kei-chan. The ones out front just feel better, don't they? Huh? Mion? No cutting class now. Stuck my hands in the water to find it had gotten so cold that it seemed strange that it had even been warm. I scooped it up and splashed it across my face. Once I was done, I moved out of the way, and Mion did the same. Mion, how is your cold doing? You're sleepy because of the medicine, not from lack of sleep, right? Huh? Actually, this is a secret, but the festival yesterday I got wrapped up in a party my relatives were having. And, well, I had a bit. A bit. She made a gesture like she was tilting a cup into her mouth. Which means you didn't have a cold or anything. Are you hungover? How old are you? Nah, give me a break. I really don't feel well, you know? I suppose she'd be feeling lousy either way. Still, you treat colds and hangovers in completely different ways. I was worried over nothing. And I guess that's just like you, Mion. Mion scratched her head, a little embarrassed. She didn't seem to be feeling well, but now that I knew it was a hangover, I didn't need to worry too much. It would go away with time after all. Oh, but my head is really pounding, so the teacher told me I should go home early. Ah, you cheater. So you're going home now, Mion? Well, I looked again. Mion had her bag with her. She must have been on her way home. Yep, I feel bad about it, though. I'll get some rest at home like a good girl. Sorry I can't make it to the club. Would you take over as leader for today, Kei-chan? I don't know if that will happen. We have that unspoken rule that we don't do club unless everyone's there, don't we? We never did that when you would go on your part-time job, did we? Mion laughed wryly, saying that we didn't need to worry about her. No matter how much fun we have, though, I think the feeling guilty about friends who can't share it is the sign of a real fantastic friendship. In that sense, the club Mion has created is a wonderful thing. As I thought about it, the moisture on my face dried up. Suppose we were talking too much. If I didn't get back to the classroom soon, I'd get in trouble. Okay, later. I'm going back. Be careful on your way home. Don't wobble into a sewer or a brook, got it? Left it at that, turned around, and started heading back to the classroom. Oh, one more thing, Kei-chan. Mion stopped me, and I turned my head to listen. What's up? This may sound weird, but don't think too hard about it. Well, that depends on what it is. Oh god, I'm gonna sneeze. Last night, near the end of the festival, did you see Tomotake-san or Takano-san anywhere? I suddenly tensed up. You know Tomotake-san and Takano-san, right? You remember, Kei-chan, when the 4 of you were talking about setup the day before. If I could, I wanted to forget about sneaking into the storehouse that night as soon as possible. So hearing the names of the people I was with at the time really got to me. Besides that, though, Why was Mion asking me a question like that? I ended up staring at her, unable to answer immediately. Was she seeing if I had seen them or not, or was she asking the question knowing that if I had? Couldn't tell. Well, maybe? I might have seen them around. I don't know. My vague response was clearly not to Mion's liking. What answer was she expecting from me? There's no way for me to know. I see. Then one more question. On the same night, did you see Shion? My heart leapt into my throat again. The tiny needles buried underneath Mion's words prickled at me. Didn't you ask me that yesterday? I think I told you that I wasn't sure if I had or not. Did you? I guess I just thought I'd get a different answer if I asked you again. I suddenly noticed something in Mion's eyes. Something indescribable. Toмотake-san and Takano-san. Of course we saw Shion yesterday! We saw Shion when she ran into us! When she ran into us during the festival! We saw Shion! We could have just said, yeah, we saw her while we were, during the festival. We saw her together, remember? She was asking me about them. There's no doubt about it. Last night the four of us snuck into the ritual house. She knew everything. So what? There's not really a curse anyway. That's right. Even Shion and Takano-san said yesterday during the festival that there was no curse, and that rather than a curse it was the doing of villagers. My blood curdled. Mion was, almost without a doubt, aware that we snuck into the storehouse. It was nothing strange. I screwed up bad flipping on that light switch last night. If Mion had been searching for me, it's simple to imagine that she'd seen that momentary light and come to find out what was going on. Did you really not see her? Why are you so intent on knowing if I did or not? It's not important. It's just that there's some people who are speaking poorly of Toмотake-san, Takano-san, Shion, and you, Kei-chan. I didn't really hear what they were saying, though. A pleasant sweat dripped down my arms. The sound of it hanging from my fingertips was so annoyingly loud. I don't believe that you were doing anything bad. I just wanted to ask a bit about it, so I did. Sorry for making you uncomfortable, okay? I found myself unable to reply. My reaction must have made it obvious what the truth was, and yet I couldn't explain myself. Kei-chan, you weren't with Toмотake-san, Takano-san, or Shion, right? Yeah. Finally wrung out an answer between ragged breaths. Mion's expression softened a little. That's good. I'll have to tell them. You weren't involved in anything bad, Kei-chan, so I'll make sure to tell everyone. Yeah, please do. Tell them I wasn't doing anything bad. To everyone, make sure. Everyone. Everyone. Who's everyone? Okay, later. I'll be better tomorrow. Bye-bye. Who's everyone? Wait, Mion, what do you mean by everyone? Just then, a freezing cold hand touched the back of my neck. Hey, you're late, Maebara-kun. How long does it take to wash your face? It was the teacher. I was taking so long she came out to get me. I'm sorry. I was just speaking to Mion. I turned around, but Mion had crossed to the schoolyard without me realizing it, was now standing at the gate. Come back to your studies. Quickly now. The teacher was being insistent. We returned to the entrance. Looked back one more time, and Mion was nowhere in sight. Keiichi, you haven't seemed well all day. It's clearly because he was far too much fun yesterday. I don't want to be told that by the one who got lost. My face was all red, and you were nearly Your face was all red, and you were nearly crying. Satoko-chan was so cute last night. My friends did their best to try and cheer me up, but it didn't lighten my mood. Was it far worse than I thought? Had I really done something that terrible last night? Those thoughts remained with me for the rest of the day. Bye, Keiichi-kun. I'll see you tomorrow. By the time I realized it, I was in front of my own house. Mii-chan had a cold, right? Could you have a cold too, Keiichi-kun? Could you? Huh? I'm fine. I may look scrawny, but I've never missed school because of a cold. Both you and Mii-chan didn't look so good today, though. Thanks for worrying about me. I'm fine. Idiots don't catch colds, remember? Rena smiled, then waved at me, and left. Whew. My shoulders bobbing up and down from breathing heavily, I entered the house. As soon as I got back in, Mom called out to me. What? Keiichi, I'm sorry, but could you go to the library and return a few books for me? Huh? I don't feel like it. Your dad and I have to wait inside the house for a phone call right now, so we can't leave. I need to return them today. Could you please do it? Sheesh. It had to do with Jad's job. No point in arguing if they bring that up. Guess so, but I don't know where the library is. Oh, you don't? It's a little bit past Okimiya Station. Just then the phone rang. My parents' face immediately turned grim. Mom snatched up the receiver. Hello, Mayabata speaking. I'm sorry? Yes, he's right here. Then she tossed the receiver at my face. It's for you, Keiichi. Don't take too long, okay? I tried to ask who it was from, but asking the person on the phone directly would be faster. Hello? Ah, this is Sonozaki, the younger one. Hello. Do you have time to talk right now? It was Shion. The older sister had a hangover today, but the younger one made no reference to it. Shion? I thought you'd be sleeping in today with the hangover, same as Mion. What? Mion had a hangover? That's so like her. She laughed warmly, but Mom glared at me, silently telling me to finish up. Whoops, sorry. My parents are waiting for an important call, so I can't talk for too long. What do you need? There's something I wanted to talk to you about, but if we can't take long, I guess that's that. Sounded a little disappointed. What would Shion want to talk to me about? Now I was interested. Then how about we meet in person? If you could show me where the library is too, that would be great. You mean the public library near the station? Yeah, that's fine. I'll go past there on my way to work anyway. Okay, then you know where I usually meet up with Mion? At that intersection where the small path from the Sonosaki house splits? Oh, Kei-chan. Did I not tell you? I don't live at the main house. I live in Okimiya. If we meet by the ticket merchant machines at the Okimiya station, that would be great. Main house? Living in Okimiya? Now that she mentioned it, it always seemed like the Sonozaki sisters were communicating. They live in different houses? So now that she mentioned it, Rena did say she didn't meet the younger sister despite ever going over to play. Let's meet at the station then. I'll go there right away. Bye! I set the receiver down, and Mom immediately thrust a large pile of library books in my face. 6 volumes of long-form mystery novels. Mom had her own hobbies. Thank you, Keiichi. Be back by nightfall. Got it. Okay, I'm going. I suppose I'd change my clothes and grab my bike key. I climbed the stairs to my bedroom. Shion had been waiting for me already, so meeting up was a smooth process. Wow. Mion never keeps her appointments. I mean, honestly. Making my sister the standard for everything will get you in trouble. Shion seemed a little unsteady, too. She was drinking with Mion last night, wasn't she? You were drinking last night, too, weren't you? Don't try and hide it. You definitely went home from school early. Oh, too bad. I've been at home all day in the first place. I'm smarter than Mion, after all. Hey, I don't think you can call playing hooky smarter. You should finish your errand first. We don't have that much time. We're going to the library, right? Yeah, thanks. My mom had to return some books by today. Is the library far? No, it's really close by. As she said that, we spotted the signboard for the library almost immediately. If it was that easy to find, then I guess I didn't need Shion to show me where it was after all. We rode around a bend, and the building was right there. Sissaborn Public Library. We lived in the country, so I hadn't expected too much, but it was pretty big. The first floor was actually a government office, so the library was only on the second floor. But it still looked large enough to fit a decent collection of books. I passed through the automatic doors and were greeted by the cool breeze of an air curtain. The cicadas were loud outside, but it was quiet inside the library. The air conditioning inside was keeping the temperature to an ideal level for the books, which had the mildewy smell unique to old paper. I guess every library is basically the same. If there was one difference, it was the people studying for tests were taking up all the seats. I was one of those people, but now that seemed like a distant memory. Hello, I have books I'd like to return. The librarian went through the process of checking them in, and then returned my mom's library card. Shion was going through the bookshelves with a deep, interested look on her face, like she wasn't the type that went to libraries very often. I'd immediately go to the graphic novel section. Hop, 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 every time. Sorry for the wait, I'm all done. Libraries sure are nice and cool, aren't they? I want to work in a library one day. Don't know whether to call that boring or dependable. It's a pretty small dream compared to your sister. Mion would definitely want to be a hard-working employee for an international trading company, or some other crazy job that involved her running around all around the world. Compared to that, what Shion said is pretty heartwarming. Well, we need to keep our differences dear to us. We're not copies, we're two different people, called Shion and Mion. Twins have a lot to think about, huh? Still, it looks like fun. Sounds like fun. I don't have any brothers, so it's just me and my parents at home. It can get a little uncomfortable. It's the same for me. I don't live with Mion, after all. We're right, she said something like that, didn't she? Why, though? Sisters living apart is unusual. We were getting tired of talking while we were walking. We ended up going to the lounge area where it was vacant and continued the conversation. Yes, Mion lives at the main house, and I live in Okiyamiya. What do you mean by main house? You make it sound like you're nobility. It's just the main house. The Sonozaki family's main house. Mion's the successor, so she lives with Nana and apparently studies all sorts of things as preparation to be head of the family. Mion, the head of the family? Kind of fits her personality, but kind of didn't, too. Kei-chan, you just moved here, right? This will sound like I'm boasting, but we of the Sonozaki family are kind of prestige around here. Huh? Seriously? The word prestige didn't really match the extreme sociable air that Mion and Shion gave off. From what Shion explained, the Sonozaki family goes way back to the beginning of Hinamizawa. After the war, they had a bunch of successful ventures, and extended their influence to a wide area. The Sonozaki house is for a foundation under which the entire family cooperates. Though the current family head, Grandma, was the one who built it. The entire family would provide backup to help one relative with a business venture. They're like a huge living company. They let them avoid tax-related problems and help relatives' ventures succeed, one after another, using large amounts of money. Fucking cash money! Making it rain! If you ever go for a walk through Okiyamiya, pay attention to the signboards and stuff. There are a ton of shops that are managed by members of the Sonozaki family. Now that you mention it, that toy store looked like it was managed by relatives as well. Does that mean your relatives operate Angel Mort too? Even what few shops I was familiar with were involved with the Sonozaki family. It was definitely surprising. The family is particularly strong in finance and real estate. Even a lot of members of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry either have the last name Sonozaki or are their relatives. There are Sonozakis in the city council and the prefecture assembly too, since they have the Okiyamiya area giving them strong electoral support. Wait a minute. This is all escalating pretty quickly. Her relatives operate shops in downtown Okiyamiya, and they're essentially strong in finance and real estate. On top of that, a lot of them are in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry or relatives. And there are even people elected to local offices, so then the Sonozaki family is pretty much famous in the area? Yes! Yes! It's crazy! I can't give Oshi that voice! No! All of a sudden, the cigarette-smoking, overweight old man interrupted our conversation. Wait, I know this guy. Hello. Good afternoon. Are you on a date today? Ah, what I'd give to be young again. If you thought we were on a date, then why are you bothering us? Oshi-san. That was it. He was Oshi-san, a police officer. I thought it was this person who came to my rescue when I got involved. I thought it was this person who came to my rescue that involved those delinquents before. Then I had thought about it. Mion didn't seem to like him very much. No, I apologize. I heard a familiar voice, so I came over to see. Oshi-san laughed coarsely, not showing any sign of giving up. As Shion watched him do so, I didn't feel the same sense of malice from her as I did from Mion. Maebara-san, right? You're one tough guy. Two-timing the Sonozaki sisters, are ya? No, I'm not two-timing anyone! I turned around to look at Shion and plead for help, but she grinned and maintained her silence. Her gaze wandered. She looked at the clock. Ah, I'm sorry, Kei-chan. I really need to get to my job. Huh? Oh, did you? Wait, didn't Shion have something to talk about today? Now this is a weird man is here, though. Yep, I'll see you later. Oh, I'll give you a call after I'm done. It'll be okay to call at night, right? Yeah, probably okay. Then I'll talk to you later tonight. Bye! Bye! Shion left so fast she was practically running. Oshi-san was waving at me with a grin. I feel like I'd been left here as bait so she could get away. Maybe she was lying out going to work. You were quite the big shot, being so close to the Sonozaki daughters. Maybe I should rethink how I talk to you, too. Oshi-san put a coin into a vending machine as he said something a bit appalling. Is iced tea okay with you? Do you want milk in it? Huh? Oh, no, I'll put some in then. Alright. Here you are. He handed me a cup of tea filled to the brim with ice. As I looked on absent-mindedly, I don't think I'm obliged to have a guy like this buy me a drink, but he did get it for me, so I'll thank him. Was Oshi-san just killing time? We didn't know each other well, but he still engaged me in conversation about all sorts of dumb stuff. When I thought back to how I talked to Shion, this sort of seemed like a total disaster. Maebara-san, how much do you know about Sonozaki-san? Other than I heard just now, nothing. Until then, I hadn't known anything about either Mion or Shion other than the fact that they were interesting. I really did only just learn that she was the daughter of some prestigious family. The Sonozakis are a Yakuza group with their entire region under their thumb. Plus, her father's a high-ranked executive in the Beep Beep Yakuza Association. There's a Yakuza Association? I was gonna say, they're like the mob. What? An executive? Have you ever seen where Shion-san lives? The very picture of a gang boss's house, protected with high walls, barbed wire fence, and security cameras. If you have the chance, you should go and visit her. She had mentioned me on being a successor, but to a Yakuza group. No. Not at all. A boring old Yakuza group isn't the only thing Mion Sonozaki-san will inherit. She's inheriting the Sonozaki family itself. I'll leave it to you to mull over what exactly that means. Oshi-san had spoken lightly about all this from start to finish. What he was saying wasn't light in the least. It was abrupt and unbelievable. Fucking Oshi-san! If Mion-san wanted to, she could kill someone in the middle of the street and still cover it up. Not only would witnesses not show up, but she'd put pressure on the police too. Mion-san would never kill someone. She wouldn't. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Your name, it was Oshi-san, right? Yeah, that's right. Then Oshi-san, whatever family Mion comes from, it doesn't change the fact that she's the best friend I could ever have, and I'm proud of that. I don't appreciate people speaking ill of her. Let my quiet anger show through in my gaze as I stared at him. Of course, I could never seem to tell what he was thinking, so I didn't know if it had any effect. Then let me be frank. If Mion-san was suspected in a handful of incidents, what would you think? Suspected? Incidents? You can't just say terrible stuff like that on a whim. Then it would be a misunderstanding, of course. Mion may say some dangerous things, but she's not the kind of person who would do something so awful. Maebara-san, keep your voice down. We're in the library. Oshi-san hushed me, but in a state of heightened excitement as I was, I wouldn't be calm so easily. Please calm down. As I said before, the Sonozaki family holds a lot of power in this region, for better or worse. So if anything happens, they would immediately be suspect. I'd appreciate if you'd understand that. Well, I know what Oshi-san is trying to say. Combining it with what Shion told me before, the Sonozaki family is huge and controls everything from Hinamizawa to Okiyamiya. Mion, meanwhile, is successor. C's and S's together is just my worst. I have a list! Who apparently holds strong influence over the entire family. So, still, that's all? It's the only reason they're suspecting her? I'm just doing my job here. Not to doubt Mion-san or anything, just to clear up suspicions surrounding her. Please think of it like that. He could talk a dog out of a meat truck, who's definitely the definition of shrewd, unfair adult. At this point, I began to think that it was no coincidence I met him. Oshi-san, do you need something from me? Yes, I do. Keiichi Maebara-san. He answered it in an absent tone of voice. Mion being suspect for something, and you came to talk to a friend of hers, me. Is that it? No, that's not it. I didn't come to talk to a friend of Mion Sonozaki. I came to talk to Keiichi Maebara-san. It would probably have bothered you had I visited your house. To me. What would the police want with me? Having realized this fake, coincidental meeting had me as its target, my mood immediately turned foul. Nah, you don't need to be so tense. Calm down and just answer a few questions. Am I being questioned? Let's call it a chat with a guy you happen to run into. Oshi-san freely suggested that I relax. That said, behind his eyes was a light, which I could only see sometimes, that was sharp as a hawk. If I tried in vain to run away, he might actually take me in and bring me into an interrogation room or something. That was undoubtedly a unpleasant thought. You had a roaring good time at the Watanagashi festival last night, didn't you? Don't beat around the bush, please. Can't do small talk right now. Last night during the festival. Did you see Jiro Tomatake-san and Mio Takano-san? I could plainly feel myself give a start. Where did I put those pictures? Oh, here they were. He opened a small notebook and removed 2 photographs. I didn't have to look. Who knows? I might have seen them around, I don't remember. I was asked the same question for the second time today. I gave the same answer for the second time, too. Your memories are blurry. You couldn't have possibly been drinking or anything. Here, too, I got the same answers I had from Mion. I realized he wasn't taking my vague reply well. Why is he asking me the same thing Mion did? Dark feelings I had nearly forgotten due to my conversation with Shion came rushing back in a hurry. We snuck into the sacred ritual storehouse. Punishable act. It was on a tiny impulse. While it may not count for much now, I do feel sorry about it. I'll ask you again. Did you see Jirota Matake-san and Mion Takano-san at the festival last night? His tone was soft, but there was a dreadfulness in his voice, fairly different from the first time he asked. I'm scared. It's exactly how I felt. Even if you repeat the question, my answers won't change. I don't really remember. There wasn't any better answer I could give him. I didn't have the balls to say I didn't see them, nor the courage to admit that I had. I see. I just thought that maybe I'd get a different answer if I asked a second time. I'm too scared to look Oshi-san in the eyes. I'll change the question. Come, my Bada-san. Relax. Oshi-san grabbed my shoulders and squeezed them as if trying to give me a massage. Mostly just hurt, though. Still, why would he ask me the same things as Mion? If he's asking the same things, then the next question must be... On the same night of the festival, did you see Shion Sonozaki-san? Clatter, clatter, clatter. I wondered what that sound was. When I looked down, I saw that it was the unmelted ice in the cup I was gripping in my hands. My hands were trembling, rocking the ice back and forth. Realizing that, I hastily put the remaining ice in my mouth and clenched down on it. Sorry, I may have seen her, but when well, she looks just like Mion. Might have just mistaken the two. But that can't be. Suddenly, Oshi-san grabbed both my shoulders and hunched down to give me a level stare. Must be what it's like to be a deer in headlights. I want to look away, but I can't. It's the first time I've experienced such a piercing stare. Mion-san and Shion-san wear completely different clothes. You wouldn't mistake the two so easily, I would think. My Bada-san. His voice was harsh. Harsh the same way when Mion said it. I could feel my heartbeat quickening. When I realized he could feel it through the hands on my shoulders, I got even more scared. Why are Mion and Oshi-san both asking about last night? Was sneaking in the storehouse so bad? I shouldn't have let Takano-san talk me into it. Omatake-san casually said to check it out, too, so... Even Shion, if she hadn't encouraged me... No, I understood. I was the one most at fault here. I shouldn't have let my curiosity get the better of me. I shouldn't have gone to that forbidden storehouse. Oshi-san, I think that's our cue to get out of here. A young man wearing a suit came into the lounge. From the way he held himself, I knew immediately he was Oshi-san's subordinate. Oh, so it is. Closing time already? I hadn't realized it until he said something. The jingle announcement telling patrons the library had closed and started playing without me realizing. I was so irritated, so overwhelmed that I couldn't even hear it. Well then, my Bada-kun, we're out of time, so allow me to take my leave. I'd like to talk with you more about this at your leisure, when we have more time. This isn't a joke. If I never saw him again, it would be too soon. Oshi-san following his subordinate and left the lounge behind him. However, he spun back around. Oh, right, my Bada-san! What is it? Those two questions I asked you before. You don't remember well enough to answer either of them, correct? Right. Just so you know, you saw them all yesterday. You were walking along, the four of you, having quite a pleasant time, near the stone steps. I saw you with my own eyes. Caught my breath and my heart seemed like it was about to stop. What a detestable person. He knew when he was testing me. We'll meet again. Have a good year. I sat there like a rock unmoving until I could no longer hear the clacking sounds of their footsteps. What a dick! What a dick! Flips table. Fuck that guy! Fuck Oshi-san. He is a dick. He can choke on an ohagi with a needle in it. I was on my way back home. Cries of Higurashi accentuated already lonely evening. More time had passed than I had thought. The orange of the dusky sky was being chased down little by little by an indigo color approaching from the east. Exhausted from the slow climb towards Hinamizawa, without even noticing, I had gotten off my bicycle and was pushing it upwards. I don't understand any of this. No one told me to my face that I had done something wrong. No, in fact, it might have been much easier on me that way. What happened yesterday really was just my curiosity. It really was no more than a quiet prank. No more than having the courage to cross at a red light as long as you did it with other people. Storehouse for ritual implements. Hollowed ground, only accessible to the family of the priest. For sure, I had seen terrifying things that I had never imagined would be there. Thinking on it now, though, it didn't matter what was stored inside. It didn't make the wrong I committed any more right. But the four of us did. Mion seemed to know about it. For some reason, even the police were trying to learn what the four of us did. Did we do something so bad? Really? Doesn't matter how wrong it was. I did something wrong. It was nothing more than that, and yet I couldn't accept it. I didn't apologize to Mion or Oshi-san. All I did was shield myself with ambiguities. I did something wrong yesterday. I set foot into a forbidden storehouse for a little bit of mischief. I'll forget everything I saw in there. I won't ever do something like that ever again. I'm sorry. If I apologize like that, would they forgive me? The sudden cool evening air left no room for such sentiment, however, as it mercilessly chilled my feet, urging me to head home as soon as possible. In the end, the evening air was correct. If I trudged along such an isolated road, regrets would pile on top of regrets. But nothing would change. Let's go home. I'll go home, go to my room, put on my favorite music or something, and go to bed. That might sound plain and boring, but it was probably the strongest I've felt all day. And I made a decision there was no point in dawdling in a place like this. I sat back on my bike. I pushed hard on the pedals. I rapidly advanced forward. I steadily gained speed. The wind was cutting and mercilessly cold, but it actually felt good, as if it were softly punishing me. I didn't eat much dinner before excusing myself and returning to my bedroom. My mom called me from downstairs. Keiichi, you have a call. It's from Sonozaki-san. Sonozaki. Was it Mion? No, it was Shion. I just remembered. She had something she had wanted to tell me today. Oshi-san had interrupted us, so she didn't get the chance. Shion had said she'd call tonight. Hello? Is that you, Shion? Hello. Ran into a bit of trouble today, didn't we? She said it so plainly that I got a bit annoyed. She was the one who left me there and ran. Don't say that. I gave you the signal to run away with me, didn't I? You just sat there looking dazed, Kei-chan. I wasn't dazed. All of a sudden you left me there, and after that I got to put up with that Oshi guy for ages. Don't complain to me about it. I can't believe she passed it off like that. She looks just like Mion, and yet inside she's this different. I got a little irritated at myself when I realized I was, somewhere in my mind, hoping for the same reaction I get from Mion, even though she's a different person. Sorry, next time I'll run away first thing and leave you there. Hey, it's ladies first! Shion laughed refreshingly. When I heard her voice, I realized that she wasn't really that angry or anything. It was just as she said. The cause of my temper was because of my own fault for not leaving immediately. I'll stop blaming it on others. Blaming it on others would be... Anyway, I had something to tell you. You had something to tell me, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, if you already know, then it's not something that bears repeating. Do you already know? Shion lowered her voice suddenly, as if she were glancing around. I had no idea what I could already know. Sorry, I have no clue what you're talking about. At least give me a hint. So that means... you don't know. She seemed to take my stupid-sounding question as evidence. However, her voice didn't sound disappointed or exasperated in the silence. Actually, it's about last night, during the Watanagashi festival. My entire body jolted as I was assailed by a terrible feeling. Is Shion going to ask me the same thing? Hello? Kei-chan, are you listening? Yeah, I am. What about last night? The four of us went in there, right? She didn't beat around the bush. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, that was the actual honest truth. And I couldn't act like it hadn't happened. Then after that, we walked away together, and then went our separate ways near the stone stairs, right? Takano-san and Tomotage-san went to the stream, and you stayed there, Kei-chan. I went over to see some relatives. Yeah? Why do you ask? We won't make any progress if we keep asking each other questions, so let me ask this question first, okay? You mean, did I see Tomotage-san and Takano-san last night? Huh? Oh, yes. Did you see the two of them after that? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. This is the third time I'd been asked this question today. Well, hi. Why? What the hell is going on? Why? Why are you asking me that? No, Kei-chan, I'm asking the question. Please answer me. Did you, Shion? If you answer first, then I'll answer. My shabby response betrayed how scared and small I felt now, after everything that happened today. Shion didn't say anything for a few moments. Just as I was beginning to think I'd really put my foot in my own mouth with that response, she finally answered me. Of course I didn't see them. My relatives were with me, and they can vouch for that. I didn't see them either. People can vouch for me too, like Mion, Rena, and everyone else. Now that we knew our answers matched, she let out a sigh that sounded more relieved than anything else. Thank you for answering me honestly. Okay then, I'll tell you. Apparently last night, Takano-san and Tomotage-san died. Sorry, what was that you just said? Apparently last night, Takano-san and Tomotage-san died. Takano-san was found burned to death. Tomatake-san was, well, it looked like a suicide. I found out this morning. I heard my dad talking to a relative on the phone about it. Late last night, a police car was on its way back from the festival security duty that discovered Tomatake-san lying in the middle of the road heading towards Okiyamiya. He had clawed out his throat and died. What? Cut his own throat? That bright, cheerful Tomatake-san committed suicide? That can't possibly be right. The police did an autopsy. He did it with his own fingernails. He scratched at his throat so hard that he ruptured his blood vessels and bled out. He died in a pool of his own blood, that's what they said. I never heard of such an insane suicide. You can't just scratch open your own throat like that. I realized I was yelling too loudly, and I lowered my force that I was putting into my voice. I didn't want my parents to hear me, so I switched to the cordless phone and ran up to my own room. Sorry for yelling. So, was Takano-san, was that a suicide too? In her case, it was a little unclear. Takano-san's body was found in the mountains in Gifu Prefecture. Employees at the rest stop nearby reported to the police late that night that they could see flames in the mountains. The firefighters dispatched were the first ones to find her. An autopsy concluded it was the burned corpse of a half-naked female. They initially considered the body beyond recognition, but directly after, they requested for a dental comparison from the prefecture police station at Okiyamiya, and the results concluded that it was Mio Takano. The cause of death wasn't confirmed, but it was highly likely to have been homicide, since she was in her undergarments and her clothes were nowhere in the area. The oil drum had fallen over, so it was possible she burned herself to death. It couldn't possibly have been suicide. If you're going to die, there's plenty of easier ways, aren't there? This can't be suicide. That's what I think. It's unthinkable that Tomatake-san would kill himself too. After the two of us rattled on at each other, there was a silence as we paused to catch our breaths. As we calmed our nerves, right then I understood what Shion's story actually meant. I think it'll end up being Orishiro-sama's curse. We all did more than enough to deserve it after all. Deserve? You gotta be kidding! It's not like Shion wanted to see it with me. I just went along with her. I tried to say that, but I fell silent. Nothing would come of me blaming others. It didn't matter how much everyone else encouraged me. I could have put my foot down. I lost to my own half-assed sense of adventure and agreed to go in with them. Yes, it was my fault, no one else's. Shion, last night when we snuck into the ritual storehouse, did you predict things would turn out this way? Of course not. I mean, I thought it was pretty risky, but I never even dreamed something like this would happen. Shion's words were probably her true feelings. She knew she could get in trouble if we were caught, but it was the thrill of this little adventure. It's the same for me. Besides that, Kei-chan, think about it for a moment. Didn't Orishiro-sama's curse turn out a little strange this year? It was already pretty strange, seeing as how Tomatake-san and Takano died like that. Given all that, what could possibly be stranger? I mean, they found 2 corpses. Remember what I said? Every other year, one person would die and one would disappear. This year is the first time 2 people have been found dead. That may be true, but that's not a huge deal, is it? It is, Kei-chan. Think about it harder. Listen. If 2 people died because of Orishiro-sama's curse, in order to quell Orishiro-sama's anger, 2 people would need to be sacrificed. Is that how it works? So what? Tomatake-san and Takano-san died, so now 2 people are going to go missing this year? I don't understand why, but when I said that, I felt my spine freeze. I don't think anyone's been confirmed missing yet. I think that those 2 people have yet to disappear. Shion, like me, was obviously getting the same feeling crawling down her back. 2 people have yet to disappear? She didn't answer. I couldn't say any more than that either. A chill crept in through my clothes and tried to wrap its fist around my heart, cold hands feeling around on my chest. Neither of us could say anything. Tomatake-san opened the lock, and he died. Takano-san exposed the ritual storehouse, and she died. Two more people were to be sacrificed. Then there would be none other than the 2 who entered with them. None other than us. No. This has got to be a joke. I want so much for her to pass this off as a joke even now. That though was such an incredible, difficult, and selfish request. Tomatake-san and Takano-san had died in a common way, like a car accident. I could tell myself it was coincidence. Instead, he clawed out his throat, and she burned to death, drowned in oil, in the mountains. The 2 deaths were so out of the ordinary that I couldn't possibly dismiss it as pure coincidence. If it was as if, in exchange for sneaking into the ritual storehouse, there must be someone punishing us. Some sort of cruel will working behind the scenes. Even so, I still didn't want to accept that terrifying truth. If I did, then I would have to acknowledge that the horrible crisis was growing nearer for Shion and I. That's why I argued against it. I argued knowing I was running away. In the first place, it's not even in the newspaper, is it? Such a monstrous incident would be all over the newspapers and television. Magazine writers would flood the village, too, thinking it'd make for an interesting story. Of course it's not getting reported by the media. That's how it was in the past, too. When the incidents occurred for the third year in a row, there was some third-rate magazines that sniffed out the story and ran issues full of gossip columns about Hinamizawa. Fearing that the region would develop a negative stigma, they negotiated with the prefecture and the police. Since last year, it had become a huge conspiracy, where no information about the incident was allowed to be leaked to the media. I hear the elders in the top brass from the Sonozaki family put all the pressure they could on the police. And you mean their deaths are going to be dealt with in total secrecy? That's how it is. Of course the police are investigating it. That's being performed in secret too. So I hear the investigation itself is very restricted in what can and can't do. You can essentially say they're interfering with a police investigation. The story was unbelievable. People died, and yet they don't publicize it and deal with everything in secret. If we break it down further, it means that no matter who dies in the night of Watanagashi, it won't go public. It's the biggest pile of bullshit I've ever heard. Kei-chan! Before I said how the villagers could be the ones carrying out the Orishiro-sama's curse. That's what I mean. At some point, a tradition was created here in Hinamizawa, where every year you're allowed to kill someone on the night of Watanagashi under the guise of being Orishiro-sama's curse. When someone dies on the night of Watanagashi, it turns into a curse for Orishiro-sama. The curse turns into serial murder incidents. In order to avoid exaggerating the negative stigma surrounding Hinamizawa, those incidents are dealt with in secret. That's insane! Dead and missing people turn up every year! However bad the stigma gets, the police have to draw the line somewhere, don't they? You could say the incidents happen every year is mysterious, but the police can get the job done when they need to. After all, the incidents always get resolved individually. It doesn't end up being a string of incidents, you know? It just so happens that something unfortunate happens on the night of Watanagashi every year. That's all it turns into. Most of the criminals responsible for the original dismemberment were arrested. The last one managed to get and stay away, but the events were totally exposed and accentuated, so in essence resolved. The damn supporting couple died in an accident on the second year. That wasn't an accident, plain and simple. They made a lot of investigations into the possibility of it being a homicide, but they didn't turn up anything. It ended up as an accident. It was resolved. In the third year, the priest fell ill and passed away. There were doctors present at the hospital as his deathbed, and they were all trustworthy medical certificates. They even did an autopsy, and concluded it wasn't a homicide. That was resolved too. On the fourth year, the sister-in-law of the damn supporting couple was murdered. The criminal was an abnormal man with a history of regular psychostimulant usage. He confessed that he thought Orishiro-sama's curse was so interesting he wanted to try it out. The criminal died of an accident while imprisoned, so this incident was essentially resolved as well. That's right. None of the incidents had any relation to another, and each was independently resolved. So why does an unfortunate coincidence occur every year the night of Watanagashi? You could try and say it's a string of related incidents, but they're not related. Yet every year someone always dies and someone always disappears. The story Takano-san told me on the day before during the setup. Now the curse really had occurred this year. I couldn't just laugh it off. Then does that mean it'll come for us too? Just like how one person dies and one person disappears every year, you're saying that we'll be taken along with Tomotage-san and Takano-san in a race too? My lips had at some point become completely dry, and just saying that was difficult. Shion didn't respond. Her silence, however, was the clearest form of confirmation she could give me. Sure, we went somewhere we shouldn't have, but we were just looking, right? We didn't steal anything or take anything out, and we didn't tell anybody where we looked, right? I already regretted having committed such a wrong. Even so, was it really so bad that Tomotage-san and Takano-san deserved such cruel deaths? Besides, I didn't care about anything I saw in there at all. Takano-san was the one getting so happy over it, wasn't she? Takano-san was the only one at fault. I don't have anything to do with this. I'm not interested. I'm not involved. I don't give a shit about what was in there. I knew saying so wouldn't solve anything. I could feel myself, my cold self in the innermost depths of my mind, disgusted at my pointless howling. However, my emotions had broken through the dam, and I couldn't stop them anymore. I didn't have any interest in any of this stuff from the start, damn it. All I wanted to do was draw Chika-chan's performance. You were the one who pulled me away from that, weren't you, Shion? I don't give a rat's ass whether those two are trying to steal something or trying to meet up in secret or whatever. That's right. You're the one who made me go in there in the first place, Shion. You were all, Kei-chan, you need to see what's inside. And you convinced me and then pulled me inside. Why the hell would you do that? I didn't have anything to do with this. What will you do? What are you going to do, damn it? How are you going to take responsibility for this? Huh? Hey, are you listening? Click. Without any warning, the phone cut off with the soft sound of the receiver being slammed down. Shion was just as terrified as I was. I just said some really self-centered things. My riled-up emotions disappeared as if they never existed. In their own place surged waves of deep regret at having run my mouth so irresponsibly. I should try to call out Shion's name from beyond the disconnected phone, but it was too late. What have I done? Shion was only trying to tell me as much as she could about this thing about to descend upon us. As for me, I could only whine like a child about it. I went to call her back, but then remembered she lived in Okiyamiya. I didn't know her phone number. Since I had declared to Mion that I hadn't seen Shion last night, I couldn't just call Mion and ask her for Shion's number. I was too scared. I couldn't even call her back. I was stricken with hopeless regret. I returned the receiver to its stand, and I simply prayed that Shion would call me back again. Please, Shion, calm down and call me again. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, this is Maibata. I set the receiver as though it wouldn't go through if I didn't grab it at the exact moment. Is this the Maibata residence? Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household? It's the voice of a middle-aged man. All my hopes rushed out of me. No, it isn't. If you need Dad, I'll go call him. I went to put the receiver down, but the man stopped me hurriedly. Oh, no. If he's busy, then it's fine. This may be a strange question, but is my old man paying you a visit? No, nobody's here at the moment. I see. Again, I apologize for calling you so late at night. Goodbye. Clack. I don't know who that was, but if Shion tried to call while I was talking to him... I thought bubbling with egotistical anger. Hey, wait. Give it a break, Keiichi Maibata. Those are selfless emotions that made Shion mad at me, aren't they? The more I thought about it, though, the more I thought about that Shion had given up hope in that short time since we had our conversation and didn't want to call anymore. Calm yourself, Keiichi Maibata. If Shion doesn't call again, then first apologize in a calm voice. If you do that, then Shion should understand. However, no matter how long I waited, the phone didn't ring again that night. Damn it! Maibata-san, you fucking goddamn moron! That's why you don't fucking run off your mouth like you're goddamn fucking idiot. You fucking prick. You prick! You galumba! Oh man. Oh man, more tips. Okay, we'll read the tips and then I'll stop for the night. Close calls with a rotary phone on it. From scrapbook number 6. Significance of Watanagashi. Watanagashi, a festival for hunting, for sacrifices, and feasting on them. While the festival itself is remarkable, it has come to be considered a form of entertainment as well. Perhaps it was because of the disparity between both an erroneous act and a form of entertainment that the perpetrators began to believe themselves transcendent. However, I find some very interesting literature that appears to raise questions about that explanation. As with most oral traditions, it's not easily swallowed, but it does mention a few things that spark my interest. According to this literature, even the residents of the Onigafuchi village felt fear towards this ritual. Women and children would grow pale and tremble, and those weak constitutions would vomit. But it's said that the feast, the dissection, was an obligatory viewing. It was an extremely curious tale. Until now, I thought the residents of Onigafuchi were fascinated by the Watanagashi ritual. They looked down at those vulgar, barbaric humans, cut them open like fish, and by eating them they reaffirmed their own holiness. At least that's what I thought. However, what the villagers gained from this ritual was not fascination but fear, and that would suggest the ritual meant something entirely different. There's a possibility that the executions were meant as warnings, encouraging the villagers to do strict following religious precepts created by those with power of their own convenience. Onigafuchi village was effectively ruled over by 3 families called the 3 families. 3 old families called the 3 families. Without investigating the 3 families, I probably wouldn't get any closer to the truth of Onigafuchi. From the scrapbook number 7, last part. 3 families. The 3 families refer to the 3 old families who effectively came to rule Onigafuchi village. To break it down, they are the Kimiyoshi family, the Furude family, and the Sonozaki family. Each of them still exists today. Though they don't have as much control as they did in the remote past, they still hold considerable influence today. The Three families are considered by legend to be those whom the blood of the swamp demons runs the thickest. The Kimiyoshi family. The Kimiyoshi family appears to have held great power as the head of the three families, but it doesn't have that kind of leadership today. The current mayor of the village, Yoshichiro Kimiyoshi, is from of this family. The family that the members of the Kimiyoshi family are elected as the mayor every generation is thought to be a remnant of the old system. Of course, as no rival candidates appear, it doesn't change the fact that the Kimiyoshi family holds the mayoral office even through popular elections in the post-war era. Furure family. The center of the village's faith, since ancient times, the Furure family has guarded the sole shrine dedicated to Otoshiro-sama. They were worshipped as the only people to represent the voice of Otoshiro-sama for a long time, but the family branched off after the war and lost most of its power. It now consists of only the main house. The main house, as well, presently consists of only one daughter, Rika Furure, as the lineage may end in this generation. This is apparently an old tradition of honoring females of the Furure family, so the only daughter, Rika, is the subject of most respect amongst the elderly in the village, the Sonozaki family. It's said that this family had a certain police-like role of protecting the religious precepts of the Onagafuchi village. Of the three families, their relatively weak position could be seen from me putting them here last. Of course, today the Sonozaki family is flourishing, and the state of affairs among the three families is completely reversed. Even now, one could say that they are in control of Hinamizawa. The three families conferring with each other is similar to the old way. The current head of the Sonozaki family, Ryo, essentially decides all the goings-on in the village by herself. Grandma! It's Nana! Nana. Oh no, is this the Tomatake call? Oh god, it is the Tomatake call. Excuse me for the late call. I'm Kimiyoshi. Is this the head of the household? Yes. No, not at all. Thank you very much for that. Yes. Well, you see, I do apologize for calling at this hour, but I was wondering if our old man was visiting you at the moment. You've got that right. Yes! Once again, I'm very sorry for calling so late. Goodbye. Click. So? No good? Not sure what to do. He may be passionate about it, but he's always at least gives us a call. Call everyone he plays Go with, didn't you? Bring. Hello, this is Kimiyoshi. This is Sonozaki. How did it go? Have you found the mayor? Oh, Mion-chan. I called everyone I could think of, but I came up with nothing. We can't find him. What do I do? Where could he be idling about? I put a word in with a bunch of people who might have an idea, but nobody did. I asked Nana about it, and she said we should get the men of the village together to search for him. At this hour? I mean, it's not like he's definitely gone missing. Watanagashi just happened. She thinks we should be a little more cautious. If we still can't find him, then we'll notify the police tomorrow morning. Whether or not we find him, though, we should refrain from making any false accusations. Oryo-san said that? Yes. If you can't trust her without hearing her voice, then I can put her on for you. No, that's fine. I understand. We'll get the men together and search. If we still can't find him, then we'll notify the police in the morning. She'll leave it to you to organize the men. I'll be there as well, as Nana's representative. Thank you. I'll get everyone together immediately. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. What a mysterious phone call. How weird. I can't say spoilers, but I'm going to end this off tonight. But the answer arc for this is going to answer why that phone call took place. It's going to be good. And also, I think will be the first time we see Keiichi's face actually see his face. This goddamn fucking nerd. Alright, so everyone have a good rest of your night, and may the cicadas lull you to sleep.